And we are live. Just like that.
Just like that.
Yep. Phone?
Yeah, immediately.
That happens.
Oh, of course, the guy who... So I might have to leave for a second here. I was
That's
selling a
fine.
guitar hanger, and the guy told me he was going to be here at 5, and now he's, now he's decided is the good time.
It's like, oh, I'm going to be here now.
Yeah. Said I got sidetracked there, but I'm but I'm coming. Where can I pick it up?
Hey, we got people in the chat already.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Dastardly. It's Kulios and Mando Merc today. We're going to be doing 2 people just talking games, I guess. So we got the Call of Duty thing. Still, what is this? OS minimum. Windows 7, honestly. I mean, unless you're me and you prefer to run Windows 7, who's running Windows 7?
No one?
But yeah, this is the. Let me just get rid of the Cyberpunk thing because it's blocking it. But this is the PC specifications for Call of Duty Black Ops, Cold War, the new one, and it's. I mean, 125 gigabytes is too much for any game. Star Citizen isn't even 82 gigs yet.
Well, and that's like what I was saying is when you're at over 100 gigabytes, I think it's a little much, especially when you look at certain games and how well they are able to optimize their memory. Like example, Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Like there's no way Warzone, for example, or I guess Modern Warfare, which
that's the difference here is that Star Citizen isn't a AAA game, and it's also not finished, and it's not trying to pass itself for being finished. It's like this is very much an alpha, and yeah, eventually it will be optimized, and they do little bits of optimization when every patch comes out. But at the end of the day, when the game is said and done, they will optimize it. And sure, it's going to be a big game because it is a big game, but I doubt it's going to be like 500 gigs.
Exactly.
Because then, like, most likely, 50% of the backers won't be able to run it. Dare I say 75%.
And what does it recommend for RAM?
It says for Windows 7 and Intel Core. So minimum it says 8 gigs, and then 12 gigs for recommended, and then everything else is 16.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it's going to be hard for a lot of people to.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the memory thing, you and I would be able to run this game no problem because we're probably at the Ultra RTX thing here. I mean, I don't have that. I don't have a RTX 3080. I have a 970, but I mean everything else. I got 32 gigs of RAM. I've got an Intel i7. So
I definitely wouldn't be able to run the Ultra RTX, but
yeah, but I don't think most people will. I mean, maybe some people, but yeah, not most people.
So like the point is, anyways, I don't have an RTX supported card, so
right.
I'm not too worried.
A lot of people don't right now because it's brand new. It just came out.
Well, and the other question is, are people going to start going with AMD cards?
What?
They're AMD graphics cards because they're looking pretty good, like the ones they just announced. New series.
I haven't checked them out yet.
Yeah, I think they're actually, well, not third party benchmarks yet, obviously, but from what AMD has said, they clock higher than the like all the respective models clock higher than their NVIDIA counterparts for gaming. And also, they're cheaper too, I think.
Yeah, also we should specify, look, it says at launch. It's only going to be 125 at launch.
Yeah.
Because additional storage space will be required for mandatory game updates, and then all specifications require a broadband connection and DirectX 12 compatibility, Well, many people don't even have that yet. Some people still run on DirectX 11.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's a different. That's not related to this. And then
Yeah,
the one here that they talk about with the 125 includes the optional high definition asset pack. But still, that's way too much for a game, especially from a AAA developer and publisher like Infinity Ward and Activision.
Yeah. Yeah, so assuming you have the high definition asset pack and it's going to be 125 gigabytes on delivery, how much are they expecting you set aside, additional storage? Because if they're like, 125 gigabytes is already a lot, but if there's an additional storage space, like 150,
Right.
if they're pushing that, it's ridiculous.
The smallest SSD you can get is, well, okay, that's not true. The smallest one I think is like maybe 250 or something, but at least the old SSD I used to have was 250 gigabytes. So that's already eating half of my SSD.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and for most people, right? They don't have 3 terabytes on their computer. So how many games are they allowed? Like, if
get this game at
if people start following this trend, if game developers start following this trend, how many games are you gonna have on your drive before it's filled up, right?
And then we have the console launch file sizes here. So PlayStation 4 and 5, it's going to be 95 gigabytes and 133 gigabytes respectively. And Xbox One and then the Xbox Series X and S will have 93 gigs and 136 gigs respectively. That's still big. Like, I mean, console games, like, at least with a computer you can, change drives in and out, but with a console, at least the Xbox One I have came with a 500 gig hard drive.
Yeah, and
I
assuming you
have
want
an
to
external 500 gig hard drive plugged into it just so that I can run more games. Destiny alone was like 117 gigs because I have the original Destiny on it, or had rather, because I had to get rid of it in order to play other games.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy for the consoles, especially. Like you said,
it's also,
PC at least
more
you can.
For the new consoles too, which I get it. They have the whole new SSD, and it's going to have decreased loading times and all that. Doesn't make a difference when your entire drive is going to be taken up by essentially
3 or 4 games.
1/4 is going to be devoted to one game.
Yeah, exactly. And see, the weird thing too is that it seems like the Call of Duty franchise, at least recently, is the biggest offender because Modern Warfare was also extremely oversized.
And then here it's saying that it's going to be 175 gigs on anywhere from 175 to 250.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. That's literally 250 is the size of a small SSD.
So to recommend
that's a $30 $30. That's like a $50 to $70 SSD right there.
Yeah, so to recommend 175 gigabytes here, or to 250 gigabytes, let's say you want to go right in the middle at like 210 or whatever, but that's ridiculous to ask, especially for somebody who only has a terabyte of hard drive space. Why would I want to devote quite literally a fifth of my hard drive to a single game?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing.
It's not.
I have an SSD built in just for Star Citizen, but comparing my build to a non-citizen player is different, especially since I built my computer for not just gaming but for artwork and other like writing programs as well. Like I have Open Office here, and I got all sorts of other apps and stuff. But for say like a guy with a more modern PC, he's probably gonna be running something like maybe only one SSD and a hard drive, combo or something like that. Depending on the game, or maybe he just happens to have, because honestly, I don't. Do they? I know they sell 1 terabyte SSDs, but SSDs are really expensive. Unless you're getting like a 500 gig SSD, it's going to be $100
Yeah, I
or
mean,
more.
so I think for 1 terabyte, two is close to $250 right now, Canadian, for Canadian prices at least. I don't know exactly what that is in US dollar, but yeah, I think it's around 220 US dollars.
Well, yeah,
because
like I have two 500 gig SSDs installed right now. They were 70 a piece. I think I got one for 50 because it was a sale. But without the sale, they were 70 a piece, $70. One is a Samsung Evo, and the other one is a WD Blue.
It's surprising to me that this game is.
It's like, what the hell is in this game that's so resource intensive? Or memory intensive, I should say.
Well, not only memory intensive, but if you're looking at like competitive, so if you have a 144 hertz monitor, which a lot of people do, they're recommending not only a 3070, but 16 gigs of RAM, an i7 8700K. Like, I mean, not many people have like exactly that computer. You know what I mean?
No, because again,
especially for something like a Call of Duty, where it's supposed to be a generalized game for a lot of
we're not. It's unfair for like. I'm not trying to put like Star Citizen guys on a pedestal or anything. I'm just saying it's different. It's a different thing. We built our machines around this game that is still in development so that we can run it smoothly and test it properly.
You have to have
it was built around that purpose. Most people build their gaming PCs just to run games to that at a 60 frames per second or maybe like 100 frames per second, but mainly so that they look good. They care more about the video card and everything. You and I, we care more about the RAM and the CPU. Exactly. As I said, I have a GTX 970. I've had it since 2016. It still runs every game I play extremely well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's concerning for me that if Call of Duty is going to be. Well, I mean, obviously, I don't think a lot of developers will follow in footstep because I don't think many games other than these ones will have 200 gigabytes required, but it's definitely not setting a good precedent.
No. And this is a problem that's been here for a while, is that like games running at even a game running at 100 plus gigs is bad. Because I have like the older Spider-Man games, they're all Activision games. Even the Wolverine game I was playing the other night, and I think the Wolverine game is like somewhere between like maybe 26 gigs, but that's because I had to download it in parts or something. No, sorry, it wasn't 20. It was 6 gigs. The Spider-Man game, Shattered Dimensions, was 26 because I had to download it in parts. But that was just the zip file sizes, like all together, not each one. All together it was 26. Then once you delete that, I'm like, oh wow, my memory, my storage is pretty much empty now because the actual game itself is like 9 gigs.
Yeah,
and those games both came out in 2010.
Yeah, so but what really makes me wonder is, so if we were reading the minimum, multiplayer is only 50 gigabytes. So then that means the campaign is 125 gigabytes, or is this including Warzone as well?
And also, I mean, it's more fair to say Warzone's only 20. Well, that's like the Battle Royale, right?
Yeah, that's the Battle Royale.
So say that's like only, I'm being
generous, even 100 gigabytes.
But say it's 25 gigabytes, right? So leaving the campaign and everything to be 100, that's still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot for the campaign.
Like, hell, the entire Master Chief Collection is like 24 gigs or something like that. Because again, all those games are with the exception of Halo 3, ODST and Reach, and Halo 4 when that comes out, they're older games and they were optimized.
Yeah. So, and even like, you've seen Rust, right? Like the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I recently re-downloaded that, and I was extremely surprised, and actually happily surprised. It was only 10 gigabytes. So it was a game that was, I think, 40 gigabytes, close to 40 gigabytes in early access. They had optimized it down to 10 gigabytes at release. I don't see how, for a game like that, right? How they're
Yeah.
able to optimize memory so well, yet, you know, this is Treyarch, right? Cold War, I believe.
Oh, is it Treyarch? That I said Infinity Ward before, didn't I?
Is it Infinity? I can't remember which one.
I think I
No,
said
it
Infinity
must
Ward, but it
be.
might be Treyarch this time around.
Yeah, no,
Because
it's
they
got to
keep
be
switching
Treyarch because
between
Black Ops.
because they're
Yeah,
coming out annually, so one team makes the next game and all that.
yeah, it's Black Ops, so it's got to be Treyarch. Anyway, so, but for like a team like Treyarch or even Infinity Ward, it shouldn't be. I don't think it should. It should obviously be like of some priority to optimize memory.
Yeah, especially since again, regardless of we have all these social media and everything, but at the end of the day, the best way to advertise a game is still word of mouth.
Exactly,
Like you can say all you want
talk.
about this review score and that thing and Metacritic and all that, but honestly, at the end of the day, if someone if your friend goes up to you and say, "Hey, I just played this game and it's really amazing. I think you'll like it." That's the best advertisement you're ever gonna hear compared to a commercial or user review or something on anything online. Actually,
Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to trust word of mouth from a friend far more than I am going to a cinematic on whether or not I should buy the
right?
game or something to that extent. Or for example, um, I guess well, I can't think of the name right now for some reason. Not it's big flop in 2016 spaceship game.
No
And then
Man's Sky.
yeah, No Man's Sky. I don't know. I couldn't think. So
July,
No
what was
Man's
like
Sky.
July 6th or something of 2016. I remember the date very specifically.
Yeah, I
Because,
think
that's
so.
when
Yeah.
that was a game I wasn't following prior to. No,
Yeah,
sorry,
and so even if
I wasn't following Destiny. That's why I wasn't attached to it. But I was following
yeah,
that game, and I remember when it came out because this whole everyone blew up about it. But
yeah, well, exactly. Even if I didn't read a single review, or even if I read a review that said 5 stars, I guarantee you I wouldn't have bought that game purely because of word of mouth.
right, and hell, I now because of word of mouth saying that it's good.
Because of word of
However,
mouth. Exactly.
I'm still not going to pay anything above even like $20 again is even still too much for me. Not because it's like it it launched horribly and all that. It's a combination. It launched horribly. It's been over 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't feel I should be charged $60 at this point. I got Doom in 2018, the 2016 version. I got it in 2018, and I got it for $13 on Steam. No sale. It was just $13.
Yeah, so No Man's Sky is like $66. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's another complaint I have about the Call of Duty franchise as a whole is if you go and try and buy any of their old games, they're all still expensive, super expensive.
The
Like
last
Black
Call of
Ops.
Duty game I bought must have been World at War because when I first played it, I played it when it first came out, but I didn't own the game. My friend had it, and so I bought it years later because a game where I get to kill Nazis. I'm not going to say no,
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it's a game I played before and actually enjoyed. But I got it on the Xbox 360 in 2000 and I want to say I think it was 13. I picked it up.
Yeah.
And it was part of the whole platinum edition and everything. I got it for $13 or something on Amazon or something like that. I know I didn't pay full price or even half price for it.
Yeah,
No, I got it for
so
$20.
Black Ops.
I got a few other games for 13 or something, but yeah, I didn't pay even half price for it because it was years old.
So Black Ops 2, which came out in 2012, November 2012, which I bought for probably $60 at the time, is $65 right now on Steam.
Why is it going up?
Yeah, well, exactly, because I think
too.
because
They
the
keep
Canadian
raising the
dollar
prices of
is
their games.
fluctuating. But yeah, it's like how are you going to charge,
And
the full price for a game that came out 8 years ago?
Right, and 2Ks, along with many others, are now like, well, now next gen games have to be $70. It's like, why? Are you actually making them good?
Well, yeah, that's the question is like, what's with the price raise? And it sucks especially for me in Canada because originally, like,
Hey, you have to
go
pay
back
more.
8 or 10 years, it was largely $60 because we were close to on par with the American dollar at the time. But now we have to pay about $20 more per game, so I pay like $80 for AAA games. It's kind of insane. So I really, really hope they don't start charging $70 because it would essentially mean I'm paying close to $100 for a AAA game, and it's hard to justify that.
Yeah, like that's not cool, especially since again, yeah, $80. It better be a really really good game and from a studio you really like and want to support, because
And
otherwise
that's why
that's just not realistic.
and that's why I find myself not playing or buying so many AAA games because I just can't justify it for the price when I can go and buy a game made by a smaller team for $20 on Steam and get way more time out of it. Like,
Right,
I'm
like
not, I
look,
don't want to go.
take what's my face, Among Us. That
Yeah,
game's 2 years
exactly.
old, but it only hit popularity now because of live streams and word of mouth. And like I
Hmm.
played the free version on mobile. I hate it on mobile, but that's just because the control and UI sucks there. But the
Yeah.
game itself is actually really fun, and it's only ten
Hmm.
bucks on the PC.
It's $6, yeah, five
Oh,
sixty
$6.
nine.
Okay, that's even better.
Yeah.
I heard it was 10, but yeah. So it's you know, and people are having infinitely a lot of fun with that, to the point where I'm thinking like I've talked with Cam, and I think I don't think I've talked about this with you yet, but we were thinking about like if we can try and do a Among Us type thing in Star Citizen, and then I finally came to the realization there's no way to do tasks without without someone knowing what all the tasks are,
Yeah, yeah, without
because
yeah.
the tasks are randomly generated, and it's like we can't do that in Star Citizen. So
Yeah.
someone would have to like
Yeah.
give out the tasks and just like be like an overseer or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I think AAA games are straying away from what people want, and it's obviously because of the corporations that are behind them, or the companies like EA and stuff. But it's sad to see.
Yeah, and that's the problem too, is that it's like they're not. The problem is the lack of self-regulation, and because of that, it's leading to all these uh, government bodies suing them, and getting them to self-regulate. Otherwise, they're gonna regulate for them, and I don't want to say that's a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
And we need to actually, there need to be set rules, I think, because that's the problem with the gaming industry as a whole. Is there's not a lot of regulations in general, or rules like set for what you can and can't do.
Yeah, it's
Which
so
means like, oh well, a
extremely new.
corporation can get away with pretty much something that's legitimately worse than gambling in video games and sell it to children below the legal age of 18, let alone the legal age of gambling, which is 21.
Yeah, they can exactly quite literally get away with something that would be illegal in any other avenue otherwise.
Yeah, like this whole thing of 82 gigs here, like 125, too much for a game, especially when you like. It's not like they don't have the money to optimize the game, because sure,
Well,
optimizing probably costs a bit, but you're a
well,
multi-billion-dollar corporation that in 2019 had a record year, and then proceeding that announcement of having a record year, fired 8% of your workforce, which was like 775 people,
mhm.
because
Well, yeah, and it's
why pay them when you can just fire them and then pay your executives multi-million-dollar bonus?
Yeah, and it's one thing if it's like a smaller dev team saying, "Hey, look, we wanted to ship the game, but we're going to optimize, the amount of memory it takes up over time or whatever." But it's exactly what you said. It's not a small company, like a massive company, like
Yeah, here we go.
Treyarch, sorry,
Activision has
should not
detailed the
be.
file
Yeah.
sizes of its upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Man, what is it with all these new games and consoles having really long, extended, overcomplicated names? Uh, Releasing
Yeah,
across,
the
like, just
Series
call it
X.
Call of Duty Cold War, like you did Call of Duty World at War. Like, because technically World at War is, I think, supposedly in the Black Ops series. It's the like prelude game to it.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't
So
need to put Black Ops in. Yeah. So even reading this, and it was only made so Call of Duty has become notoriously storage intensive game since the Modern Warfare reboot in fall of last year. It was only made worse by the addition of the Warzone Battle Royale mode that launched back in March. So currently, Modern Warfare and Warzone combined totals more than 173 gigabytes on PS4, but they're expecting 250. So they're going up 75 gigabytes from their previous game. Even that's crazy. That's like adding an entire new game onto your,
and here's
you
the
know,
image we're looking
on
at.
your
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
it's insane. And here,
Okay, so this one is saying the no leak on the Series S. The device is smaller, 512 gigabyte SSD only contained. I think that says a mistake though.
364 gigs of
Yeah.
free space for game installs.
So you have 114 gigabytes left out over on your SSD after installing this game.
Yeah, you're gonna have 30
Mhm.
new SSD alone. Like with Star Citizen, I have the Master Chief Collection. I've got um, I moved over some games, so I got like three like really old games. Oh, I have the two emulators, each RP, yeah, the RPCS3, which has two 6 to 9 gig games, and then
Mhm.
PCSX2, which I have 15 games on, each of which is like anywhere from 4 to 6 gigs.
Exactly.
And I still have more than enough room for Cyberpunk, which is only 70 gigs.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
And that's all in the same drive as Star Citizen. Yeah, this is just insane. Like, I'm just
The
gonna leave it
sad
up to
thing
some people
is,
to read watching, like who are watching. But it's like this is crazy. Like you're essentially gonna need 250 gigs just to run it with any like.
mhm. Yeah, you should be fine for most things. Yeah, I'm still running DDR3. I really need to upgrade mine actually. I've 16. So has Cyberpunk released how big it's gonna be, like,
Yeah, it's
exactly?
gonna be 70 gigs.
70 gigs.
70.
Yeah, so quite literally under half of having
Yeah,
this entire game
Cam
installed.
and I were talking about it a few months ago. I'm gonna pull up the image real quick. I just have to scroll up.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So almost under half of having just.
It might be
Yeah,
bigger than
so
Star
that's
Citizen
crazy.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Star Citizen is 63 gigabytes right now, for me at least. But that's the entire folder. Yeah, that too. I try to keep my trim because usually I'll take a few screenshots of the one thing I'm trying to capture, and so it ends up being like 10 of the thing, but the one I want, you know?
Yeah, so Cyberpunk is only 70 gigs.
Okay. That won't be too bad then. Hmm.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Like
and
that
for
that's
their
Cyberpunk's recommended settings for both like their recommended and their minimum.
so
Like you
quite
and I would
literally,
still be.
yeah, literally immediately you can see that this game is way easier to run than Cold War.
Also, the fact
And
that
I have without a doubt in my mind, this game will look
yeah,
better.
and here's another thing that tells you this game is optimized. It's 70 gigs in both system requirements.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
not
have
like
something that's varying in size from one thing to another, that shows it wasn't it was only optimized enough to just run on the thing. It wasn't actually optimized.
mhm.
You know, it's like, okay, we got it working on X console and Y console and Z console. You know, that's it. It's not we got it. You know, in this case, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, PC for just for sake of argument. But it's like it varies completely from not just each console, but from and well, not from each platform, but from the consoles within the platform.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that's
the
a massive problem.
PS4 and the PS5, it's like there's like almost a
Well,
like a 50 gig difference.
and I understand if they're talking about high definition textures, but that's not what they were saying. They were just saying with just the separate consoles, right? They were going to be 40 gigabytes more and then 150 gigabytes for the extra high definition textures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
It's insane.
And
it's
the
it's
saddest part
so
to me at least is the fact that you know that there's not going to be anybody who's going to, obviously like
the
complain enough,
problem
or
is
they're
it's
not going
like
to get enough of a reaction to want to ever change it.
and again they make the point like where it's like there's going to be additional mandatory game updates like it's like they're going to have like day one patches and all that kind of stuff which will increase the game size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now in a perfect world it would increase it to maybe like when all the content, right, it's been a year, the new Call of Duty's out, at the end of the day the game is like 100 gigs or something because you have all the game modes, all your save files, all of this and that, like yeah, that makes sense, but that's not the case here.
Well, yeah, and what that also tells you is that you can already tell they're not going to try and optimize memory at all. If they're saying like assuming in the future they want to bring down how much memory it is, right? Which would be a reasonable thing to assume considering 250 gigabytes is, like I said, way too much. Assuming they wanted to bring that down, like they're not going to be able to if they're just
and
adding
this is almost like a
updates that are
warning.
not.
Like your file size is going, like the game file size is going to increase. You have been warned.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if they're not optimizing the game on launch, are they going to optimize any of the updates on launch to be a reasonable size, right? Like,
you'd hope.
one can hope, yeah.
I mean, you'd think that they would actually optimize the game so it's like, hey, this way you can actually download it. And the problem is this. Look, say the game runs fine, it's a good game. Okay, fine. But the problem is, you still, do I want to play this game or do I want to play something else? Like, say you want to play Cyberpunk versus this. It's like, and you only have a one hard drive, right? Or SSD rather. That means if you only have one, that means your OS is on it and you have the game.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, not everyone can afford having a second hard drive or SSD, let alone several. I have a full tower PC, and I think I can only I can fit 5 hard drives or SSDs. I have 5 slots, drawers.
Yeah.
But I only have 3 ports on my motherboard. Now I could I could connect hard drives together to make like one hard drive, but that's not, that the point is not everyone is that well versed in computer hardware, and they're going to see they only have 3 SATA ports on their motherboard, or they didn't build a computer themselves, they just bought a pre-made gaming computer. Then
and
they're only going to have whatever that computer came with.
And what I was going to say is if they're going to, so yeah, like you said, I'm on console and I want to play, I want to have both Cold War and this download and Cyberpunk download so I can play either one whenever I want, right? Then you're pushing it when you say, okay, well, I want 5 games downloaded because we're not doing discs anymore, obviously, right? Like,
yeah,
like a lot of games.
As much as I hate it, because I still am a huge believer in having physical media. In fact, I need to actually one of our someone I met in someone else's live stream actually sent me their copy of Dread from 2014. They sent me a copy of the Blu-ray. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm super grateful for it because he's like, I don't need this. I don't have a Blu-ray or something like that. And he's like, you want it? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I love that movie.
Yeah, well, and I'm a huge proponent of physical media, at least until the proper stuff is put into place that you actually own what you're purchasing digitally, right? Because right now you only purchase a license.
I have that problem right now on the Xbox One. I have The Outer Worlds I got for free, and now that I don't have Xbox Live anymore, I can't play because I stopped paying for it. I stopped paying for it like maybe 2 years ago now. Well, it's going on 3. But I had 4 free trial cards for pretty much a month of Xbox Game Pass that I got at my when I went to that Halo Con last year.
Oh yeah.
So I used that to get the game, and when after it expired, I was still able to play it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I guess I own the game now.
Yeah.
Because I downloaded it. It's there. I have the full game on my hard drive. And I was playing it for months. I took a break to play some more Star Citizen, get back into that. And then as I went back maybe like 2 months ago to try and play, it said I needed to buy it or something because they probably changed something on the DRM that's like, okay, now you don't own the game unless you're signed in online. And I noticed I noticed I can only play it when I'm online. Like if I have Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass, I can play it, no problem. I own it. But if I don't, if I'm offline, I can't run the game. And I had the same problem with Halo Reach and ODST on the Master Chief Collection on the Xbox One. Because I used the same one. I used one of the other 14-day free trial cards I had to download both of those games and play them. And then I tried to play like a month later, and it said I need to buy the update, but I already had them installed. But because I'm not online, I'm like, and this was one of the many reasons why I got the PC versions, because A, I don't have to pay online. B, all my friends have the PC version. There's no crossplay. But also because this whole thing where it's like I need to be on, like, signed in on Xbox Live in order to play the game that I own. That's not cool.
No, if exactly, like, if you're advertising that you have access to this game, and especially if it's a single player game like Outer Worlds, it's ridiculous to, I guess, not let you play it offline. And I guess the problem is like I said, there's no, or sorry, like you said, there's little to no governing with video games right now. Like, really, there's not many restrictions for them to follow, or,
No, at least we're winning on that front, but we'll get to that later. But then, if you want to move on, we got the Halo stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Which, that one is, oh my god. So I did a little thing here on the channel already, like just ranting about it.
Yeah.
But it'd be so much nicer to talk to someone else. So,
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's like they're getting rid of something that's been there since the very first Halo game. Being able to choose your color.
Which, why?
Because they can monetize it. So we were talking about the Master Chief Collection a second ago, and we'll go back into it, because in the Master Chief Collection they have a battle pass system for unlocking new armor. And the reason for that is because the battle pass is a test bed for how they're going to monetize Halo Infinite. So I've already shown this article off a dozen times, but it's, talking about how instead of having colors, we're going to be having... Oh, this is great, though, that they're going to be having... From the beginning, player expression has been a key pillar of Halo Infinite. To achieve these goals, the team has developed a new system which is a powerful and flexible way to create customization content quicker and more robustly than we've ever been able to in the past. Tell that to Halo Reach and even Halo 4. According to lead player investment designer Christopher Blom, a coating is a 7-layer shader that allows us to put any artist-authored color, material, or pattern into 7 channels and apply it to an in-game items like weapons, armor, and vehicles. And then, like, we got the Monster Energy assault rifle here.
Yeah.
That they promoted like months and months ago. This one, which I don't know what it comes with, but we got a Warthog here that's painted blue and gray. I mean, it looks nice, but... And actually they showed this off where you get it from like Mando as cookies or something. The Monarch, which I actually think looks good. Just turn all the gold parts black and you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And for I put it in the thumbnail. I put this one, and then a fan made Photoshop of the Monarch one that has it in like classic Chief military green, which looks awesome. But unfortunately, we won't be able to make it because coloration along with materials and patterns will now be baked into the coating, taking the place of primary and secondary.
That guy is here. I'm just gonna go for a second. Sorry.
Armor custom color options. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, it's going to take place, which has been found in prior games. While we understand that many players are fond of the previous color system, we're very excited about the breadth and scope of armor, weapon, and vehicle customization options that will be available in Halo Infinite because of the coding system. It's like, and I've gone over this. You're taking more choice away from players. They did this with... They pretty much... 343's been doing this with every Halo game since they took over. In Halo 4... they took away the art style, which everyone loved. At least they're bringing that back with Halo Infinite. But they took away the art style, and they took away Firefight. And they replaced it with Spartan Ops, which I actually thought was a good idea. It wasn't extremely well executed, but it was a good idea. I liked the whole idea of having a campaign where my customized Spartan, like a Halo Reach type campaign, where my customized Spartan is the playable character in that campaign, and I got to play with others. Same time, that's not like, why are you getting rid of a game mode that people liked and has been in 2 Halo games already? And then with Halo 5, they got rid of the ability to customize your nameplate, your emblem, which has been there since emblems have been a thing. I think that's 3. They got rid of being able to customize your emblems. You just had pre-made emblems, and you can just customize the colors. And they got rid of customizable armor, where you only had full set of armor and helmet. That was it. And people were pissed about that. And then obviously they took away the rocket launcher. That was a whole thing. And then they're doing it again with shotgun and the Magnum and Halo Infinite.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, so I'll tell the viewers, if there are any, that pretty much 343 been doing the same thing with every Halo game. Halo 4, they got rid of, obviously they got rid of the art style, which at that, it's one thing if it's the second game in the series.
But yeah, immediately just...
This was like the 7th game in the series, Halo 4?
Yeah.
And even if it was the 3rd game, it's been 10 years.
Well, and, I'm even fine with...
11 years, because 2001, so it's been 11 years. It would be like taking, like, the design of like a Star Wars or Star Trek, right? Like, and you just completely change all the designs from one season to the next, or even one show to the next. And
it wouldn't be so bad if, like, I guess because 343, I understand that they're a different studio, and so they're gonna do things differently, and maybe they want their own style, but they didn't. I don't know. It wasn't really even reminiscent of Halo, right? Like, it was
like this looks like Halo. That looks like a Spartan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of that stuff is good. I think a
Spartan. Like, this is that green Photoshop I was talking about. Like, this is Halo. And this is the Halo Infinite multiplayer armor. This is I wonder if they have the old, like, here, this is the Halo 5 armors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like, again, here's more Halo 5. So, like, look at that. It's like a freaking unicorn horn on it.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, well, in Halo 4,
and this was Halo 4 when they introduced the Prometheans. It's like, they don't look like Forerunner constructs.
Well, no.
Like, look, if you made them more blocky and limited the floating bits to like a minimum, then I can see a Forerunner look there. But
yeah, like I said, as long as they're
organic in design, like the metallic, like all the legs and everything look organic in design versus being blocky. Like, take the look of a Sentinel, right, from like Halo 2 or Halo 3. They're very blocky. But they're very alien looking.
But yeah, as long as it was reminiscent of Halo, but it's just they didn't. They went with what I feel like they were like, oh, what would look cool and not what would look like Halo. Like, obviously, you have to take artistic.
I've heard some people go like, oh, well, Halo's always looked military, like realistic. Some people go, no, it didn't look realistic. Have you seen the assault rifle?
Yeah, Halo has never really looked...
Halo, to me, Halo's always had a perfect balance, like a blend of realism and sci-fi. It was a balance. 343 leaned more towards sci-fi and broke that balance.
Yeah, before it was like...
You can just look, like, the argument they made, I think, for when they changed Chief's armor in 4 was, oh, this way you can move more. But if you look at the armor itself, it's bigger and clunkier than even the Halo, the Mark IV Spartan armor that you see in Halo Wars.
Yeah, like, so if they would have changed it, Well, okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying. Whereas, it's more reality and sci-fi, but obviously the sci-fi is extremely grounded in reality, right? Like, it's still like I guess
Like it
it
look,
wasn't
yeah, it just looks like a
extreme
cool.
sci-fi.
Like
It was still
take the
grounded. Yeah.
MA40 assault rifle here that we're looking at from Halo Infinite. Yes, it doesn't like how do you use it as a sight, and all that. But at the same time, you can clearly tell this is an assault rifle. It's got a magazine here. It's a box-fed magazine. Here's the gas pump. Here's the barrel. Like everything's visible. You,
Yeah.
you can see where it is. Warthog. Yeah, it's giant, but at the same time, it's meant for all sorts of different terrain. Like you can see the realism there at the same time as like it's sci-fi. Like look, even the Spartan armor, it's like you can see the joints, like where they can be able to move and everything, and have full range of movement. But at the same time, it's like why not just make the entire suit made of metal or something like that? I mean it is, but that's not the point. The point is like, why have just this that? Like, why not go with like abdomen armor as well and all that? Like,
Yeah.
the point it's a blend of sci-fi and realistic, like of real military stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it's sci-fi, but it's still grounded in reality, and that's what Halo at its core is. Whereas 343, they really were geared towards the sci-fi rather than grounding it in reality.
Right.
Like keeping it grounded in the
Like,
military Earth. Yeah, there's no. It's yeah, yeah, because it's like it feels like I guess every well it might be not real or not probable or not it's sci-fi, right? But it's still everything is done with a purpose,
it's sci-fi
right?
grounded.
It's not
It's
like there's
grounded sci-fi
we're fighting in a war in a
with
war against
aliens.
aliens. Why would I waste time putting a horn on my helmet? Right? Like for no
Unless you
reason, right?
plan on
Like
doing a lot of headbutting, but even still.
yeah,
Have you ever
exactly.
tried getting an axe out of a human body?
Just
Forget
try
I asked
pulling
that.
your head out of a
Yeah,
chest.
but my point is like it's like you stab someone, like you still have to pull the knife out to use it again.
Yeah. But yeah, it's there's
Now when
no
that
reason for a
knife is
lot of
your
the game.
head, that poses a problem because it means you're even for a second you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like I mean, we can make an entire video just about how awful Halo 5 helmets are. Like you've seen the Seeker helmet, right, with the speakers on the side.
I haven't. No, I didn't. So I didn't play Halo 5 that much because
Lucky.
4 put me out of it, and then I didn't get an Xbox One. So I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna play 5 ever. But
You've never at least seen the designs.
I hadn't seen a lot of the designs, not for the helmets. No, I know a lot of the 4 ones were just like exactly with the horn, ridiculous. Like, yeah, it might look cool, but what's the point?
All right, so here's one of the Halo 5 helmets. I swear, there's
Why?
one. Like, look at this. This is supposed to be the Commando helmet. And keep in mind,
It's,
Carter from Halo Reach is wearing the Mark 5 Commando helmet.
yeah.
How
Or
did
so
that
so
translate into
right
this?
there, the gladiator-esque helmet, or not the gladiator, the I guess real life Spartan-esque helmet, up there with the mohawk looking thing.
No, the Spartan.
It's supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to be like an actual Spartan helmet, right?
Even that's kind of
But
impractical
it's
because it does so
it
much.
yeah, well, it's
Why
exactly, it's
waste the
extremely
material
impractical.
on this?
Well, and then the front face shield, realistically not blocking from any bullets to your like your face. It's just blocking the side of your face, I guess, right? I don't know.
That also doesn't. That looks like where your nose is.
Yeah, that's what I
Just
mean.
look
It's
at the
like
neck and
a
yeah,
big
that's just
line down the middle of your face, and it blocks your cheeks. Yeah,
I'm trying to
weird.
find one that has the Seeker helmet because the Seeker helmet's quite a sight to behold, and description doesn't do it justice.
Or like if you,
But you
yeah,
compare
even
it to
if you.
like here's the traditional Mark VI helmet that Chief is
Mhm.
iconically sporting from the entire franchise after Halo 2. Like look, like it's simple, like it makes sense. It's got lights, it's open. It's clearly you look at it and goes, okay, this is clearly a heavy duty helmet. It's clearly meant for him to survive in space, and at the same time, it's a cool sci-fi looking helmet.
Yeah,
But
exactly. It's
even
not.
this looks kind of fills that role. The problem is in
Well,
Halo
and it
4, he
feels simple. Yeah, and they keep it simplistic. Oh, okay, that's yeah. Like, well, and look, the visor just randomly goes out. The visor is all like weird. That Raider helmet almost looks like they wanted to make Hayabusa, but poorly,
yeah, and
very poorly.
Hayabusa was like a nostalgia, like an Easter egg helmet too. It wasn't actually like yeah, there was lore
Yeah,
behind it, but I mean it was designed as an Easter egg for another video game, I think. Yeah, here's it in action.
yeah. See, that's just crazy.
That's
It's
just.
it's
And
not
there's the
not only is it
customization menu.
yeah, not only is it unrealistic in terms of this universe that we reside in, but it's
Even
unrealistic in the
within the
Halo
Halo universe,
universe.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Meanwhile, here's the Scout helmet, which looks pretty much like the Halo 3 Scout.
mhm. And so like, yeah, it just seems like they don't understand like why would any military spend all this extra money or these extra materials on like all this extra stuff when they
Right,
could have a
because they
simplistic.
still have a capitalist society. It's not like Star Trek where they're they don't have money
Yeah,
anymore. It's just we need something. Okay, it's like no, they still have money and everything. They still have to mine for the ore and all that. It's like here's a this is pretty much in Halo Reach helmet. This is pretty much just the Marine helmet, but
hmm
made for Spartan use. So it's got like a visor and mouth plate and everything like that. But the design without the mouth plate here and the visor, it's the same as the Marine helmets have.
yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
then I think this
I
is
don't
supposed to
think
be yeah, this
like
is Halo
the
5.
infantry
It's like
armors look too bad.
even the like lock helmet, like it just looks out of place in Halo.
It just has a bunch
Like
of
you look at
extra
this,
added
or
on
here's
junk
the Mark
that's not
IV
needed.
from Halo Wars.
Yeah. Well, and even like if you look at any of the Halo 3 or the Reach designs for helmets, any of the helmets that have something added on, it's for specific use and it's very clear. Like
Right, and that's the thing. Like that's what I liked about Halo Reach is that there wasn't like 500 different helmets and stuff because why would there be?
yeah, exactly.
Realistically,
They weren't
why would
like,
you have
"Oh, let's
500 different helmets?
yeah, they're not like, "Oh, let's add a horn on just because." Let's make the visor bigger or the visor smaller or
No, like
that kind of
in
thing.
Halo Reach, you had a bunch of helmet. Like you had a security helmet, you had a
Yeah.
recon helmet, a scout helmet, a command. Like
Close quarter
all these
combat.
helmets that served a
Yeah.
specific purpose or had some kind of uh, specific use in mind for when they were built.
The
Like the
EVA
perfect
helmet.
example of that is the gun.
Yeah.
Here, this is supposed to be the EVA helmet
Yeah, well, and that's what
from
I mean.
Halo
Like
5.
that, it doesn't make sense. Why would like the normal EVA helmet, right? Assuming you look at that, what is the tactical or not the tactical? I guess what is the logical reason to have the
Here's the EVA
visor indented like that? Yeah, so that compared to the other one.
used by Emil.
it's just a simple helmet. Whereas this one, they've got a bunch of curves and like a bunch of random stuff in the visor. For what reason though? Like,
and here's the Halo 3 version.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine because again, Halo Reach was the Mark V. This is the Mark 6, so it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I really
the Mark
enjoyed
5
the
is supposed to be
EVA
more
from
reminiscent of all the designs from Halo CE, which given Halo CE only had one design, so.
Actually, Emil's helmet is probably one of my favorite helmets from the Halo series, the EVA with the skull.
Yeah. I always loved George's helmet, and I read the lore for that, and like that was a Mark IV helmet that never actually saw the light of day until the Mark V was built and all that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we're going completely off topic here, but the point is the whole they got rid of one thing, but they added something new. It's like no, and that's the kind of pattern that 343 has. Is for Halo 4 they replaced Firefight with Spartan Ops as opposed to just adding Spartan Ops. Because I really like Spartan Ops. It wasn't executed great, but I like the idea of having a Halo Reach type campaign where my Spartan that I created is, the Spartan I play as in the campaign.
Yeah,
down
like
to the color and the armor pieces and everything.
Yeah, and like I said before, there's nothing wrong with taking artistic, what's the word? Like you're taking the art into your own hand. Like you're making something.
License or liberty, I think.
Yeah, liberties. Yeah, you're taking artistic liberties with the piece of work, but keep it grounded in Halo. Don't do what you need to, and do what you want to do. Honestly, but keep it Halo.
The Warthog is probably the only thing I didn't hate from Halo 4 and 5, and this is pretty much the Halo 4 or 5 Warthog. The only thing it's missing is the bars here were lining the entire thing, and I like that they got rid of that, but it's still the same Warthog.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, admittedly, it's
the only thing I don't like is the lights here, that they're round versus I'm just so used to them being rectangular just from the Bungie games. But that's just a nitpick, honestly. Everything else, still looks like a Warthog.
Yeah, well, it would have been. I think it would have been hard for them to mess up the vehicles, because the vehicles are. I don't know if there's much that they could do to mess up the vehicles. I hope. Knock on wood, obviously.
Well, look, they're bringing back the classics art style with the weapons, vehicles, the armor, and hell, the Pelican is the classic Pelican from I think Halo 2. So. It's very clear they're clearly bringing back older and classic art styles and designs for different things, but at the same time they're also taking away things again. So Halo 5, they got rid of the ability to create your own emblem. They had preset emblems.
I didn't even realize that.
And you were just able to color it. And you've been able to, and since emblems were a thing, you were able to customize them, I think, right? I think they were introduced in Halo 3, so...
Yeah, in Halo 3, yeah.
Because I didn't know in Halo 3 until after I bought Reach when that came out. Because, again, I only played Halo at other people's houses until I got my own Xbox. Which was right before Reach came out. But, with Reach, you were able to customize your own emblem, and you're able to do that in Halo 4 as well. But then Halo 5, they got rid of that. And in terms of weapons, Halo 5, they got rid of this classic Spanker rocket launcher, the double barrel rocket launcher. That's been in Halo 4. Yeah. And replaced it with a rocket launcher that looked nearly identical to the one found in Doom 2016. But Halo 5 came out a year before. And then they but they brought back the Spanker later, but for multiplayer. And hell, in Halo 4, they got rid of the plasma rifle and replaced it with the storm rifle, which was pretty much just a plasma assault rifle. Whereas the plasma rifle wasn't a just plasma assault rifle. Each weapon in Halo served a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing. In Halo, it's about the weapons and it's a weapon sandbox, essentially. Each gun has a different purpose. Plasma pistols mainly for taking down. Plasma weapons are great for taking down shields and then you have the ballistic weapons, which are great for just blunt damage.
Damage, yeah. Yeah, and then just kind of reading this, I don't know. Hopefully, like, I don't know if. Well, I think the main problem is the fact that there's the word monetize is being used in the first place. The way games should be monetized is through the sale of the game.
Right.
In my opinion.
No, I agree.
The fact that they feel the need to monetize outside of the pure sale of the game, especially for something like Halo, where historically you earn the armor. You don't pay for it, or you don't pay for the customization.
That's what I love about Halo Reach and Halo 3, especially because you earn the armor through achievements.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, you got, I think one of the chief helmet, like either Mark 5 or Mark 6 prototype helmet in Reach, I forget, but you had to play the campaign on Legendary.
Yeah, and or for example, recon armor. If you're playing Halo 3 and you've seen somebody with recon armor, you knew that they did the achievement.
Exactly, that was another thing. It's like, if you see someone with specific armor, it's like, oh man, they completed the Vidmaster challenge or something. Like, you knew.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, this guy spent $10 on the game.
Whereas now and that's just the armor, because again, color, no one ever thought anything about color, because color's always been there up until now. Now they're getting rid of the color customization so that they can monetize their new armor coding system.
Yeah,
and yeah, I get it. They said that you can unlock some of them in-game without real money. Fine, but the problem is it doesn't leave a lot for personalization and freedom of expression. For instance, say I like this really cool military green-looking one that makes me look like the chief, or just a regular random Spartan, right? But the problem is, I'm gonna have like 17 other guys looking that way too, which actually would look pretty cool. But the point is, it doesn't allow you to do your thing.
Yeah, it's not truly customizable. Well, it is, but not to the same extent.
And it's also, again, it's a matter of, it's been there. It's the same things with the art style to me. It's, why are you changing something that's been there since the beginning? And this isn't, and it's not like, okay, well, this is a sequel to the first game. This is the... Not including the non-FPS versions. This is like the 7th, 8th game.
Well, but if you're not including anniversary editions too, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't, but yeah, if you're including those, that's like this is the 10th game in the series.
Yeah,
and this is the 10th game in the series, and it's been 20 years. This game is going to release on the anniversary of Halo CE anniversary.
Yeah,
Halo CE is going to be 20 years old when this game comes out. And you're getting rid of something that's been there since Halo's Combat Evolved.
And you can almost guarantee that it's going to be in the form of a battle pass, which, like I said before, if you've seen somebody with recon, you knew they did an achievement. When you see somebody who has the last thing on the battle pass, well, either they spent a whole lot of time,
40 hours or
they spent a whole lot of money. Yeah, they either spent just time or money. It's not like they were challenged. It's not like they did anything that the normal person wouldn't do. Like, for example, like you said, run all skulls on legendary or something like that, right?
Like playing Lasso, or something like that. Because I'm looking at my watch hours, my play time on Master Chief Collection on Steam right now. I have 197 hours played. I would say 75% of that were just to get the armor I wanted in Halo Reach alone.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All because I have to unlock each little tab within a season of the Battle Pass, whereas if they look, and it feels so obstructive when it comes to unlocking armor. It doesn't feel rewarding. It feels like there's something in your way.
Exactly.
It's not like, I finally did this achievement now, and it's because the perfect system would be achievement to unlock the armor and then in-game points to purchase the armor, like a combination of Halo 3 and Reach.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
because
you
that would
don't
be the
just get it
perfect way of
unlocked
doing
as
it.
soon
It's
as
like,
you
okay, you
finish
need to do
the
this
achievement.
combination in the thing, so you have to do, say you have to do the Vidmaster Lasso, right? You have to do Legendary All Skulls on of Halo Infinite to unlock this helmet, and then you need to have X amount of credits, say it's 200,000 or something like that, to buy it to be able to equip it and all that.
Yeah.
That would be great. But not assuming they're going to use the Battle Pass system like they are in Halo Master Chief Collection, that just feels obstructive and tedious.
Well, and I really, really hope if they are going to use a battle pass system, they don't do what other games do, where after the season's over, you're not able to get it anymore. I hope they keep like the Master Chief Collection.
So far
because
in the Master Chief Collection, you can go back to the previous season. So I'm assuming they're going to do the same.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because
one of the
if
main
not,
problems is
then
they
it
haven't
just
been saying a lot either.
Well, yeah, and the reason game companies obviously do that, where you can't go back and get it, so you spend more money.
Right.
So you go, oh no, I have 10 days to get to the end. I guess I gotta spend money.
It's like FOMO, fear of missing out. It's like, oh, I need to get. You only have 10 days to buy this thing, and it's like, say you don't have enough points. Well, you can buy it with real money. If you really want it.
If you don't want to miss out, you can do it, but it's gonna cost you.
And that's like, and you can clearly tell, like they said that if you get any Microsoft thing with GameStop, that's how you get this skin.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it's in GameStop's colors. It's and
well,
like, and they keep talking about all these partnerships here. We're talking about learning about some of our new customization changes coming to Halo Infinite by seeing some marketing materials and reading a few paragraphs isn't ideal, but programs already in motion and our date shifting. Here we are. Where are they talking about? They're talking about where they're like actually listing the different.
Okay. So they're limited in nature. Disheartened by that, but please rest assured. So essentially, so if I'm correct, they're doing the thing where I got to go buy a bunch of Doritos, and then maybe I'll get the code that gives me the Doritos armor, or what?
Right.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, I imagine it's gonna be like a Doritos with a little Master Chief on it, or something.
Yeah,
but...
yeah, Doritos and Mountain Dew, as they usually do, I think.
Right, in Halo 4 they did a Mountain Dew thing, but like, it's one thing if you have only one skin in the game like that. But we've already seen 3. We have 4 right here in front of us. This one is to get Mondelez cookies or whatever to unlock the code. This one, I can't remember for the life of me what it was with, because I think it's actually up here, but yeah, like here they say this is the Monster Energy one. This one you have to buy Xbox stuff at Xbox merchandise at GameStop from November 9th to December 13th. Yeah, so we've got 3 here. I can't remember which one, what the Warthog is from, so I apologize for that. But
that makes me wonder how much money did each of these companies spend to have this? Because I guarantee you they had that. Like for example, for Monster Energy, right? If they're gonna do this promotion, I feel like it's obviously gonna boost Monster Energy sales way more than it is Halo sales, obviously, right? Like nobody's gonna go.
Well, that's probably part of the deal is that like they did all these marketing things to help both companies. 343 and Microsoft get paid, but from the promotional thing, they probably get a percentage or whatever, and obviously, Monster Energy makes money on the sale. From the drink, although they technically already, depending on how you're buying it, like if you're buying it in a store, then they already made the money because they sold it to the store, and then the store makes money when you buy it.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess
and I'm not talking out of my ass here. I actually know how this stuff works. I used to work in this field. When a company, say you're a sauce company, you make sauces or whatever. What you do is you make the money from the supermarket buying the product from you,
and then the supermarket.
Maybe sometimes, depending on the store or the deal you made, you'll see a percentage from every time a bottle is sold. But for most of the time, It's just you made money from selling it to the store, and the store makes money from when they sell it.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones selling it. They already made the transaction to get the product on their shelves.
Yeah, the only way it increases the amount of money is if they have to order more to keep up with.
Right. Like, for instance, like they'll have regular shipments or something, and that's how both companies kind of the store and the supplier get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, like I said, not very inspiring that this is happening.
No, it's worrying too, because again, it's just another case of I was skeptical, but I was hopeful because okay, they're bringing it back to Halo, the classic Halo art style. They're listening to the fans. I don't know what the story is yet, but it looks interesting. They're bringing us to Zeta Halo, which is one of the most intense lore locations in all of the Halo universe. It's like all things are looking good, and then it's like okay, but they're getting rid of color customization and replacing it with monetized skins. The shader system from Destiny, essentially. It's the shader system from Destiny, which
is it?
I never played Destiny 2, so I'm afraid I'm not that well versed in what the shader system is.
So the shader system in Destiny is you can kind of put essentially you put like a color scheme on. So I guess you're probably not wrong.
And you just unlock armor pieces. They were already colored.
Yeah, and then you can shader each piece. I think, or I can't. I haven't played Destiny 2.
I haven't played much of Destiny 1. Not that it was a bad game. It was just the story was so uninteresting, and for me, a story needs to be interesting to keep me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
But the gameplay was fun. But what do you expect? The guys who made Halo, they know what they're doing when it comes to FPS. But yeah, it's
disappointing.
It's disappointing, and it's worrying too, because it's like I've been seeing a lot of people defending it. Like here, like they go on here, like from Mega Constructs toys to Monster Energy drinks to Mondelez cookies, candies, and more. Fans around the world will have opportunities to score 2 XP boosts, emblems, and armor coatings. So that means they're also locking emblems behind a paywall. They're not learning their lesson from previous games that were all like saying, "Hey, we didn't like X, Y, Z," and we see that not just with the whole monetization system here, but even like things we've noticed in the campaign demo with the shotgun replacing the classic Halo M90 shotgun, and the Magnum being replaced with a 10mm pistol that's bigger than a 50 cal fucking Magnum. Well, seriously, that thing's bigger. The Halo Magnum, pretty much every version of it, is bigger than a Desert Eagle. And what we saw in Halo Infinite was bigger than the Magnum.
Just quite literally a hand cannon.
Yeah, I showed you the picture. It's in the Discord server.
Yeah, I was looking at those.
It's just that's a 10mm pistol. It looks bigger than the 50 cal. Was it a 60 cal? It's like
he's got to aim it at a 36-degree angle.
It's huge, and that's just not. Well, look, the size of the weapon is just the fault of whoever designed the gun. But the fact that they're replacing the classic weapons is something we've seen before with Halo 4, the plasma rifle, and again with the rocket launcher in Halo 5.
Yeah.
It's like we don't want the. Here's the thing. I have no problem with adding additional weapons, like the saw for Halo 4 and 5. I really like the saw, and the railgun. I like both those weapons. They were new additions.
Actually, the railgun was really good, yeah.
And I enjoyed them. I thought they were very cool. I liked the railgun, like the lore, and just the in-game, the weapon is fun to use as all things. But like the lore, it's like it's only a Spartan use weapon because it's a railgun. I like that. But if you had the railgun, say, replace something else, that's like say replace the Spartan laser, I would hate the thing because it's replacing it.
Yeah, it's not improving and adding.
But the problem is you're replacing these weapons. Like, fine, you want to add a 10mm pistol? I mean, I can't see that being doing anything other than tickling most Covenant species. Sorry, banished at this point. But, aside from that, yeah, sure, go ahead, add a 10 mil. As long as the Magnum's still in. Shotgun, yeah, why do we have a 12 gauge when the original Halo shotgun has always been an 8 gauge? But whatever. We got both. It's fine. I'll just use the classic one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case, and what's worse is even if they add them post-launch, they won't be in the campaign.
Yeah, that is true.
For me, Halo is all about the campaign, and then the multiplayer is an add-on. Is after, yeah. It's a bonus. But nowadays, it's more like the campaign is the add-on, is the bonus, and I don't like that.
The campaign is the small little precursor to the.
Now, in the case of Halo Infinite, yes, the campaign is the $60 game, and the multiplayer is free to play. Free to play is, look, yeah, it's free to play, but it's going to be monetized the hell out of to the point where it's free to play. And before anyone starts saying, "Oh, it's only cosmetics don't affect gameplay," that's a load of shit. How many times have we just talked about the whole achievements to unlock skins or helmets and all that? How many times have you played a specific level or a specific game or something to unlock a specific cosmetic item, whether it's a skin or helmet or whatever gear, because you thought it looked cool and you wanted to further customize your guy?
So this is massive. So I don't know if you've ever played or really gotten or looked into World of Warcraft, right? Yeah. One of the biggest things players hate are store-bought mounts, because there are so many opportunities for them to add into game. Like these mounts from either dungeons or raids or achievements or whatever it may be, but they're adding them in to buy. Like, why? You can not only give the players something to do, but you're also giving them a reward with it. Like, it doesn't make sense the other way. And like I said, it just goes back to the only way a game should be monetized is through the sale of the game, not like
right. Because look, EA made that whole thing about Battlefield 5 failed because it was single player games. No one wants to buy them anymore. Meanwhile, you had in the same year Spider-Man 2018, Spider-Man PS4, and God of War.
Force Awakens, or the Force Awakens was later. Sorry, Ian.
Outsell them. You're talking Jedi Fallen Order, but I'm talking about just those two games outsold it by millions because they're good, solid games, and that's what people want. They don't want we've been beating around the bush with the topic of the whole getting rid of colors, really, and the point of that is you're not only are you taking something that's been there since the beginning of Halo. It's been there since Halo 1, and it's been consistently in there since every Halo game in existence. But now you're monetizing it because it's a free-to-play game, and you need to support it somehow, right? Except...
yeah, it's just the most ridiculous stuff.
Look, macro transactions, because anything above $1 is not micro. And I don't care if anyone brings up inflation. It doesn't matter. Yeah. $1 is $1.
Dollar is $1, yes.
If you can, depending on where you live, you can get like a full lunch for $1. Assuming you don't keep kosher. But, it's like... That's... That's essentially, it
shouldn't be in the game.
You shouldn't have microtransactions in a video game. Period.
And you know what? I honestly, maybe not the best opinion. Certain games, I don't think microtransactions are bad. For example, I don't think for something like Fortnite, right? The entire game was free. The entire premise of the game, for at least for the Fortnite Battle Royale version, right? The entire game was free, but they're selling Halo, the campaign, and they're purposefully not selling the multiplayer with it so they can monetize it.
Right.
Because they know they'll make more money. It's not like they created a game and went, okay, well, the dev cycle is actually going to take money and it's free to play, and
And that's
we
another
don't want to
thing.
go
The money doesn't
subscription
go into the
service.
devs.
Exactly, it's just
The
going
money
to
doesn't go to the devs. It goes to Microsoft.
yeah, and
You know, the
even
guys
worse,
that
it's
make
going
Windows
to
10.
it's not even going to the devs for certain ones. Obviously, it's going to Monster and to Mega Constructs, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like
So
the
so
devs are
now
like maybe
yeah,
the
now I want
devs
to
will
buy
see
this
a
skin.
percentage, but I mean, the only reason why I'm saying they're not going to see a percentage is because just look at the past. Like, look at all these different companies' track records. You know, they speak for themselves. We talked about Gearbox did not pretty much underpaid and then refused to pay the bonuses they promised after the sales of Borderlands 3, which was a successful game. It sold really well.
So from what I understand,
pay them their bonuses because why not? They actually never gave a reason.
Yeah, so from what I understand is it's a pretty like frightening trend in at least in the game development industry where essentially what happens is they find younger people who want to devote their time into making Halo. They grew up on Halo. I want to make Halo. They work them to death. They don't pay them well. And then when they're done, they say, whatever, we can just hire somebody else. From what I understand with a lot of these companies.
Yeah. So here's some of the so Keelan, before we watch any of these, just to kind of like I guess comment on them. Some of these guys are really nice. Like they're good guys. I don't hate them or anything. I just think they're wrong in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
Day to be concerned about armor coatings. In a recent update, 343 has told us a little bit more about what an armor coating is. Let's read that, and then we'll talk about it. Over the last few weeks, a number of different marketing promotions have started. Now, we want to.
So I'm just
We're very excited about
the article because we literally
learning about some
I've
big
already done a
customized
live stream where I read the entire article, and
Stay tuned.
we literally just covered it again.
Infinite down the road. Yeah. A lot to unpack here. Armor coatings will take the place of primary and secondary armor color options. So to me, that says this isn't just a texture. This is color. And if that is the case, I am extremely, extremely concerned. Now, what we've read here doesn't seem super explicit. It feels like there's still more questions, as maybe we're just assuming this, right? Like maybe we're just assuming that it does in fact take color. But that's what I'm gleaning from this. And that's what I think a lot of people are gleaning from this. Taking the place of the primary and secondary armor color options found in previous games. It is possible that these armor coatings are what you see is what you get. Now, I assume that will be able to apply Halo Reach style to like whatever armor pieces you choose to have on yourself, and it will apply this general theme. But if we can't choose primary and secondary colors, that's bad.
So I totally forgot, but I want to mention this. Before anyone goes, oh, well, the only time you're going to see your Spartan color anyways, like, the colors and all that don't matter because, you know, it's red versus blue. Okay, what about free-for-all? What about firefight? What about, I'm just going to name I don't care if it's in Halo Infinite multiplayer or not. I'm going to name every Halo game mode that has you in your color.
Infection.
Your colors is in everything that you customized. What's my face? I'm playing on name. Infection, Firefight, Spartan Ops, Free for All,
Reach campaign.
You have all these different game modes that are fan favorites. Like Infection, do I need to explain why that's a fan favorite? In Firefight, obviously, you know, Spartan Ops is, from what I hear, not a fan favorite within the community, but I like it. And that's also a game mode where you get to see your Spartan as you customize it with your colors and everything. And there are a few more that I'm probably blanking on. And yeah, for the most part, like most of the competitive game modes, it's red versus blue. But not every game mode is red versus blue. So
And
it's like there are some game modes, like I play specific game modes sometimes just so I can see how my guy looks in action, like free for all.
yeah, and
also
even if you
practice,
wanted to say that like even if you wanted to say, I guess, or argue that, you know, that color isn't a necessity, it's something that they've already pre-established. It has they've set a precedent that this is in their game, right? Like,
yeah, it's a standard.
it's not like
Halo.
it's something that they're just going, oh, we were thinking of adding color in, but we're gonna do it this way instead. That would be understandable. It's we're taking something that you've had for a long time out, and we're gonna replace it with something that you have to pay for.
Not even. It's just
not defendable
because there's no customizable colors now. You just like you get a Destiny style shader and you have to apply that, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah, like an overall, it's not like even really customizable in the sense of you choose what you want. It's more so you choose.
Right, because I'd love to be able to, like, okay, say you have primary and secondary, even though some games actually have tertiary. Say it's Halo Reach style, where it's like the forearms and shins are the secondary colors, and then everything else is primary. Okay, and say like there's a stripe there, so I can make, say, dark. I can make this drab green, and maybe I can make this red, and boom, it brightens up. The clash of colors just pops. It looks better, But I can't do that now.
Nope.
Trying as
you
much
just get what
as
they
possible
decide.
To walk a fine line here and to understand where they're coming from, why they're making this decision. So going with the assumption that these are armor coatings. This is your color. You can no longer select white and blue. Like, you can't just pick your colors. You pick a coating and that's what it is. Assuming we're going along that shader style, they did use the word shader in here. Let's talk about the benefits. This does potentially give them opportunities to create texture. We haven't really seen it yet, but that's the vibe I'm getting, is that you can literally see, something that's chrome, something that's shiny, something that's scratched. All of that can be applied, but it would remain in the color that you have. So you could get, say, a scratched finish that's red and black, but you would also need to get a scratched finish that's white and gold. One of my concerns is that this is something that they wouldn't necessarily be able to go back on very easily, as all these promotions are already out there, right? All these cookies and candies, and like that's part of the marketing machine. Don't overlook the existence of those. Like, don't write that off, or that's something that happens with AAA titles, right? Like, this has been in plans forever. That's why it still had to roll out despite the game being delayed. So those promotions are in place, and like for them to say, you know what, just kidding, those don't matter anymore, right?
So like I don't even see how that's
be a disaster.
That's even
However,
a
what's more of a disaster is not being able to pick your colors.
They could have kept
this is obviously a microtransaction play, and larger than microtransaction, an unlockables play, more
and even if they wanted to do as a microtransaction,
but we joked before about
least they're not taking something out.
Now, I'll admit I'm not fully opposed to the notion of unlocking colors if you started with the standards, right? You have colors you've seen in past Halo games. Say you have 15 colors or something to that effect, and then you can unlock colors on top of that, right? Because we've never been a fan of green. There's usually like 6 greens, and it's never the green I want, right? I can never get my lime green. I always want a nice like yellow green. That doesn't exist. So I've never been opposed to being able to, like now you can unlock colors that didn't exist in the starter kit. This whole thing can be potentially mitigated if when you start the game,
it seems like less customizability.
You have a ton of coatings at your disposal. You have the basics, stuff people like, stuff that's just normal, right? You have pretty much a solid of every color, right? If we start the game and we don't have, again, 15 or so basic colors, a red, a blue, a red and black, a black and yellow, like just stuff that just like if they just looked at the most popular color types, for instance, and just had those in there, I think that mitigates it a bit. I wouldn't be as upset.
Hey.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, that's fun. I have ad blocker. It doesn't seem to do anything.
Upset, right? As long as
even watching this video, from what this guy's saying, he's saying like, oh, if they had 15 shaders that they just gave you at the start, right? Like, even then, it doesn't make sense because it's not going to be, not necessarily going to be in the way I want it. They're not going to have, unless they have it literally a shader that has every possibility of a combination between primary and secondary, it's not going to work. Like you're still going to be taking stuff away and then putting a price tag on it.
Nail all those ones, but still, what if someone's theme for their entirety of playing Halo was green and purple, and there is no green and purple option? Then what? Then they can no longer be the Spartan they've been for over a decade. 16 years. You have people who have stuck to a primary and secondary armor color for 16 years. We're going to go with this green and purple because that's something I like wearing. What if they can never have that? How would they even petition 343 to allow that to happen? Again, I'm really, really, really trying. You guys know me. Either you love me for it or you hate me for it. I'm trying to understand and be level-headed about this decision, assuming we're understanding it right. There's always the chance that we aren't fully understanding this, and maybe it's like a per piece coding system. Maybe. If that's the case, I don't hate it.
If that was the case, why wouldn't they have come out and explained it?
Well, and why would they have? What they would have done is they would have published for the monster collection. They would have published the textures for each piece separately. They wouldn't have done it on one picture on the same Spartan, right? Like they would have probably showed the different textures for the helmet, for, you know.
I should probably point out that Monster Energy one came with other weapons as well, but just in the article they only showed off the assault rifle.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's armor.
Being able to color things, but if it is literally just like a whole suit, that's your color scheme. I don't got many positives. I really don't, and I like to give the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. One way I can come to terms with this is if this was the first ever Halo game, right? You have games like Destiny that are like that, right? You have a shader system. I don't know how well that's received, actually. People seem fine with it.
Yeah,
But, and this is the problem with a lot of Halo discussions, is it's never been this way. We've always had options. This isn't giving us much new. It is pulling something away. And that is the problem that Halo seems to keep getting itself into. You can't take things away from us. I'll even settle for, okay, this will be something not in at launch, but post-launch we'll have this. And you know what? I'll say it. I'd be okay with this system if a full color wheel or something to that effect was unlocked at a top level, right? If you ranked up in a playlist or whatever, or like your account rank got to a certain, like the very top is colors or somewhere high up, because you're like, oh, dude, how'd you get that? You're like, I got the color wheel, bro. People would grind for that. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Again, I'm trying to find this middle ground here in the notion that they are very much, this is something they have in place. We can fight it, but it's very clear that this is also in marketing.
Like I said, though, if they're going to do something like that, I feel like they'd have to do
we'll be able to win this
in a way that's not just
I'm
playing
trying
time.
to find
not like,
that
I
middle
played
ground.
for 12 hours every day for the last 10 days.
And it's tough.
You know, or a week or a month or whatever it
don't
is
like
you have
this.
to. Should
Again,
be something
we're not
that's
seeing it in practice.
achievement-based
We're
that
just seeing
you
some
have to
renders.
accomplish.
We're just hearing a few paragraphs about it. And it might not
But
be
yeah, I think if
terrible
it was like, you know, if once you unlocked or got to a certain thing or complete a certain achievement, you got like all the base colors, then I don't think it would be bad. But I guess, yeah, then I guess at the same time though, they'd have to do it where each texture or coding is separate to each piece of armor, you know, like the helmet is
and also any way you cut it, they still have to, any way you cut it, they still need to find a way to monetize it, because it's free to play or fee to play.
Yeah, that's just the unfortunate
more accurately called.
Extremely unfortunate.
Bajillions of coatings that literally covered every possible color scheme.
That would be over just doing the base mask from Halo Reach colors. That would be precise. Not precisely, but this is a rough estimate, but like anywhere between 300 to 500 different color combinations.
Well, and that's what I said. Like if they did one where they had every single, if they had every single combination of primary and secondary, it would make sense, but they're not going to, because it's just not feasible. have that many color codings.
I think if people think like that, it'll be a little less hard to wrap your head around and a little less frustrating. But how are they going to do that? Do you know how many, like, let's think about this, right? If we only had 15 colors and only primary and secondary, there's probably tertiaries. I mean, we've seen 3-color armor suits, right? Okay, so that'd be 225 different coatings. Now we're getting into a whole other problem. Halo 5 already had too many options, which you think isn't a bad thing, and it is inherently, but you need to have a damn good like UI, UX system to facilitate that many. They are not going to give us over 200 coatings. How long is it even going to take them to get to that level? That's not going to happen. You're dreaming. But you can't argue that that would potentially satisfy people. It's not as good. But if you can still get the look you want, great. Oh, but hang on, though. We're only talking about 2 colors? If you add another 15 in there, right? Now you're talking thousands. We're talking thousands of variations to make sure I get my specific purple-green combo. Again, trying to keep this positive. Textures, stuff like that can be cool, and I think there's potential there. And also, it's really cool that this is happening with vehicles, with weapons. I'm okay with not being able to select primary and secondary colors and stuff for vehicles. You know why? Because it's never happened. That's never happened in Halo.
Exactly.
So anything to do with those
the
are new.
problem is
MCC
the
first
word
introduced
replace,
the
not
vehicle
add.
system. That's super cool.
Right, which is the problem too. It's like that was we've already been saying. It's like they keep replacing things as opposed to just adding. And that's kind of what 343's been doing with the Halo series ever since they got it.
Well, they definitely could have added in this texture stuff with
Cool,
the
we'll see
primary,
more of that
secondary,
again.
and
Great.
tertiary.
I don't expect to be able to select a primary and secondary color for vehicles. You know what I do expect? To be able to do it for my armor. Since Halo 2. Forever. The Halo franchise. This is entirely based around a unlockable system, a microtransaction system, etc. You know, the partners, all of this to make this work. They wanted more items to unlock.
Just for the record, a step forward would have been Doom 2016's multiplayer customization, because you had primary, secondary, a color pattern for which you would have your primary and secondary color in, a metallic slider, you want your armor to be really shiny or more dull and worn. You had a weather slider, which you want it to be muddy and scratched up and been literally through hell, or it's fresh off the factory, line.
Yeah.
That would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, like I said,
that's what I thought armor coatings was going to be.
Yeah, if they'd done the textures, quite literally textured armor, right? It would have been so much better if they would have just added it. It's just ridiculous. I think that they're getting rid of stuff like that.
Block to redeem, to purchase. I don't see any other valid reason why something like this would exist. I gave you a way you could unlock colors and not have it be egregious. You have your basics, and then anything on top, fine. You can select a primary, you can select a secondary, and those are the basic colors, right? You have your 15 colors, whatever. I think that would satisfy people. I think that would be totally fine. And then on top of that, then it's coatings, right? Then you have cool stuff going here and there. This is how you can save yourselves, 343. And yes, 343, listen, I can't stress it enough, guys. There are people out there who think they're just, some evil corporation who's just out there to make $1, and it's
that they are. I mean, I wouldn't say they're evil, but they are.
If they're listening, they're watching. Yes, a single video can have an entire impact around us.
That's what people don't understand is with these big companies, you can't. You can hope for more. You can't expect more.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to deny that they care. They wouldn't have went back to the classic art style if they didn't. But at the same time, to think that they aren't just a company out to make money, they're they're more than that. That's just ignorant and absurd. Mm-hmm. Because they are out there to make money, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this for a living.
Yeah, and if that was the case, Bungie wouldn't have sold Halo in the first place. Bungie wouldn't have, Microsoft
Well, Bungie didn't sell it. The way they did it is Microsoft had ownership of it, even though they created it, which is why they went to Activision when they made Destinies, because they were the only publisher that would allow them to keep ownership of Destiny if they left.
Yeah, and look how well that's going. And but what I mean is 343
now.
Yeah.
Although in the process before they left, Bungie fired Marty O'Donnell, so that wasn't great. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Legend. He's a legend.
Yeah. So what I'm saying though is like, if it wasn't, if this stuff wasn't about money, you would never have seen microtransactions in the first place.
Right.
Truthfully, in any game that they charge, you would have never seen any extra monetization.
Yeah, like for instance, look, we're doing this pretty much for money at this point, but we're not doing it solely for money. We started this because we cared, we wanted to have our voices heard, and it's fun. It's fun. We just get to talk and play games and have fun. And look, and as far as making money, we have the Teespring store, but there's nothing on that Teespring store. The only reason there's the products there is because I would not sell anything that I would not want to buy myself.
Right.
And I can confirm this because the sweatshirt and 2 t-shirts I ordered from Teespring from our store have finally arrived yesterday. I'm sorry, today. And they are freaking awesome. They even managed to get the little logo in the O. I mean, sure,
really?
it might, yeah. Although it might come off the first time you wash it, but who cares? It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it in my hand. It's really cool.
You'll have to.
Especially since I got the black sweatshirt with the logo on the back and the font in the front. But that's the point. I'm ecstatic that I even have my own product that I have now that I can wear in public and everything.
Yeah, but back to the point. I think it's ludicrous to say that 343 is anything other than a company that's out there to make money.
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna say, I wouldn't deny that they care. They seem to care, but at the same time, their primary goal is to make money. That's as a company what they're there to do.
Yeah.
And when they
if it comes down to a studio situation or a studio choice where we have to keep this in or we have to change it to this and make more money, they're gonna take the money no matter what.
Right, and you can make the argument, well, maybe it was Microsoft's influencing them or whatever. Fine, but they still went with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're listening, you've seen the outcry, you've anticipated the outcry. If my notion here is in fact true, that armor coatings are not per piece, that it is entire set. Hey, you want to be purple and black? There you go. You want to be red and white? There you go. But you can't...
Oh, one thing I noticed here, the visor is silver. The other visors we've seen are gold. So that also means that not only are they taking away, I could be terribly wrong about this, so hear me out though. Yeah. Not only are they taking away choosing your colors, but they're also taking away choosing your visor color, which we've had ever since visor colors were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
In Halo Reach. So, say you wanted a silver visor because you love the ODST helmet, you love being an ODST, you want to have an ODST type visor, right? So, visor. Well, you're going to have
buy an
now by
entirely
choice.
different thing.
Say again?
I said you're going to have to buy an entirely different
Right,
set
you're going to have to buy an entirely different skin or whatever with it, which means, okay, I can't have the skin I want with the visor I want.
Customize it further than that, other than the shapes of the pieces. If that is true, if that is what armor coatings are, we need to at least have the base colors. The base, again, 15 is kind of an arbitrary number there, a primary and secondary there. Even if that's in kind of the first coatings, or I don't know how you do that, but that needs to be the base. You can go absolutely wild on top of that because everyone will. That's the thing. This is almost a non-issue. It's so close to being something that people wouldn't complain about. People would celebrate. But they're not gonna, because you're taking away an option. You're taking away a legacy, a history. You are taking away individuality. You're not providing individuality.
But you read the article? It said that they're expanding customization, and I can't even get.
You only have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's only less customizable than before.
Right.
During that rank up
I
sequence,
would prefer
I'm sure we're unlocking things or
being able to choose my
microtransactions or whatever.
colors. Then I would prefer to have any texture done.
Yeah, because honestly, look, if I'm stuck, like, look, if I'm stuck with the base armor here, I'd at least, like, look how good that looks in just the base green. What a gold visor.
Yeah.
No, like, I'm sorry, that was probably what I was gonna do anyways. So it's like, just let me do that. I don't care if I don't like it. Like, if I get a really cool shoulder or something, yeah, that'd be a bonus. But, and the reason why I'm loading up the Master Chief Collection back in the background is because I'm going to show you guys. Don't knock the amount of windows I have open.
Yeah, it's a little much for me. I have to like.
I'm really
never
good at multitasking,
had that many open in my
life.
life.
So this is my Spartan Halo.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Now, what you'll get to do is you'll get to use armor colors that they like. Yeah, I was gonna say, assuming they add elites in.
And here, ODST was very muted colors, very dull, but you can make out the blue chest plate and the blue stripe on my helmet, which I think are separate.
And on the knee pads, it looks like too.
Yes, so you can have the stripes on the arms and helmet are separate from the blue on the chest. And you see, you go with a bright color, it's obviously easier to spot. Like, look how, and you have the tertiary color here for the stripe, the Mark 6 stripe on your bicep and thigh. Like, you can make that whatever you want. You can make it steel so it doesn't blend in. I made it red just because it adds a little bit more color to the white. You know, you can go, like, look how much different it looks. Like, you can have, like, two guys, like, you know, Coolio's not going to be wearing the same armor. He can have the same exact look to his Spartan. However, he can be going, say, green and, you know, yellow, right? I don't know why, because that would just look really gaudy, but he can do it.
Yep.
And it would look like a completely different Spartan.
It just amazes me that they don't realize, like, there's got to be a certain point where they realize people don't want to have to pay for everything, and that they want
the same.
Have
armor can only be so
and not
drastically different. We need base colors. People need to make their Spartan. They'll get tired of it after a week or something anyway. Maybe less, because they'll unlock a cool new armor coating and put it on, and then they'll forget about this whole thing. But without it being...
And that's the problem right there. The fact that he's like, oh, you know, people will get over it or forget about it is to the corpos there, it's enabling. It's enabling them, saying that this is okay.
It draws back to what I said
even if you hate the idea, if you forget about it, if you let it go, you are enabling them.
It draws back to what I said about Call of Duty with the memory requirements, and tell people stop purchasing or you know, go out of their way to make a point of it. It will continue to happen. Yeah, because you got to remember, the only way to make a difference is voting with your wallet. Now, I'm not at all saying you shouldn't get this game because that will tell them. No, if you want to play this game, by all means, just don't
But I'm just gonna tell you, don't waste your money on skins.
Yeah, don't buy the coatings. Don't.
Because eventually they'll wise up and go, okay, maybe we should have made the game play. And look, if they make it where it's like, okay, we'll make every coating free, but now the multiplayer is say $20, right? Because pretty much like a separate game at this point.
Would be perfectly fine.
That would be fine, yeah. Honestly.
I would so much rather.
Because I would actually, because I might not get the multiplayer at all now that it's free to play. It's pretty much like a separate game at this point. You know, I might not get the multiplayer, and I'm painting the best case scenario here with they'll make everything free and make the game itself $20. That is honestly the best case scenario in a real world scenario.
And realistically, like I said, I don't understand why I guess, like, obviously the money, first off. So I do understand.
Feel like they can nickel and dime the player and make more money that way, yeah.
If they did charge people for the base game, and then they had these skins unlockable through achievement, it would just require people to play your game more. It's achieving what the battle pass does, and you're not getting a bunch of controversy, and you're not getting a bunch of garbage. You're keeping it simple and what it was, like.
Right. Also, I just noticed that I keep pausing it, and his face just looks really bad every time I pause it. Not like he doesn't look. It's just like the glaze over eyes every time I pause it, or like he's about to say something. Like I'm pausing it at the worst times,
There, the basic functionality. Think of machinima. There's so much you are hurting yourself with by not being able to do that. Again, it's so close, and I understand.
That's a point we haven't even brought up yet. The machinimas.
Yeah, like actually red versus blue. Now you can't
make okay, I want to have, a green Master Chief. Like, say I'm doing a machinima where it's Master Chief.
Like, so for red versus blue, those characters were red and blue, but they were different shades of red and blue. Not only that, different colors for. So
like, you want to make a red, like, for example, the guys over at Rooster Teeth want to make a red. Is that again still going? Red versus blue?
I don't know if it's still going.
I stopped. I think the last thing I watched was like when they were in Halo 4.
Yeah, I think so too.
But not that it was bad. Just I kind of just lost interest and went on to other things and got busy. But yeah, it's. Like machinimas, like I've seen some pretty good machinimas. Like there was a funny as hell one with like a funeral for Craig that some guys made. It was hilarious, but everyone was in their armor. It was in Halo Reach. Like everyone was in their unique armor, like showing off. Because like again, it was a machinima that was supposed to be a gag, like a skit, but at the same time, it allowed everyone who was there to show off their Spartan.
Where you guys are coming from.
You can tell which one is which and who's talking.
The basic functionality there. And to be fair, Halo's a red versus blue game. So like you never see your color.
Except for Firefight and Spartan Ops and Halo Reach's campaign and Free for All and Infection and.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just an easy default to say things like that. Like it's an easy default argument. It doesn't matter because you're not seeing it in most game modes. Okay, but did have this before, and it did matter before. So, like, people obviously think it matters. It doesn't just not matter. Weird.
I'm looking at the list of available game modes to see if I can list more. Because obviously all the competitive modes are going to be red versus blue. Like, even so in the image and all that. But, when you go to the social... I'm just... In Master Chief Collection, you go into social games, you got, like, infected. You're in whatever your armor is until you become infected. Then you become a green zombie like everyone else. Like all the other green zombies.
Colors. Yeah. But it is a treat to see your colors, right? When you're hopping into free-for-alls, when you're playing custom games, it's nice to express that.
That's another thing, custom games too.
I've probably spent more times in custom games in Reach than I did in the actual multiplayer.
I'm not a big competitive player guy when it comes to Halo. I'll play free for all every now and again, just because I kind of got a little hooked on it with my time on Halo Online when that was a thing.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, like, I'll do, like, I prefer playing campaign and firefight and all that because I like shooting aliens, man.
That individuality. And also, however you guys are deciding to do menu systems and multiplayer lobbies. I think of Halo 4, which came pretty close, but not great. But I love the notion of being able to, really see your Spartans. Halo 5 menu, again, it's kind of almost there as well, where it's like you see your Spartans standing side by side and like, hey, I like all these cool guys. You got a cool thing going. When they all have the same freaking colors and you see them a billion times, they didn't choose those colors.
Hence the memes on Reddit.
It's like an illusion of choice. Because again, unless you have literally thousands of coatings, there are going to be a percentage of players that will never look how they wanted to look. 343, you can save this. You can save this if there are basic colors. If you're not removing functionality, you're adding functionality. And whether the workaround there is just using a subset of free coatings from when you start the game, or a very basic small selection of base color system, I don't care. This seems so insignificant. Looking at it from afar, third person, you're like, it's stupid colors on your Spartan. But again, I'm going to hit this point over and over and over again. 16 years. 343 has been...
He keeps saying, oh, well, because Halo 2. Okay. I'm like, 16 years.
Yeah, because Halo 2
it's been there since Halo CE, but yeah, Halo 2 introduced secondary colors, so I guess that. But the ability to just change the color of your Spartan was there since Halo CE in 2001.
Yeah.
Under fire for many things since its inception. You need a win. You need a win right now. Halo Infinite needs to be perfect. That's why I'm glad the delay happened. It needs to be an incredible game. With everything you expect from a Halo game and more. And it already looks like you're kind of replacing weapons, and I don't know the story there. But I'm going to wrap this up by saying, if armor coatings are as we're presuming, big loss. Big loss that was so close to being something very cool. And I don't doubt in practice it is cool. But if you launch Halo Infinite with this, with people not being able to create their Spartans, sure, people might get over it eventually. But I'd also bet money that some point down the road, you guys will go back on this and go, all right, fine, here's a color wheel for everyone. We know you can do it. We know this isn't a limitation of the system. This is an unlockable microtransaction content plan. Stop taking things away, add things. I look forward to clarification on this system, and I want to see some lead designers come out and talk about this.
Oh, speaking of which, we've had another project lead leave Halo Infinite.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
It's like also the fact that they brought Joe Staten. Like, look, it's awesome that they brought Joe Staten. I did a video on it. It's great. Joe Staten's the dude that wrote Halo. Like, he created it along with like 3 other guys, essentially, in terms of story and all that. Marty and everything. But the announcement came after the delay. So, like, what the hell is going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, and
the more
and
I hear about this game, the more worried and less interested I am. And that's a problem.
Yeah. And then, like you said, it's not like they've exactly clarified on what's happening with this either, so.
No, they haven't clarified anything. They're not really helping the situation. And again, like, as even Green Skull here pointed out, and he's absolutely right there, it's that they haven't really had a win since they took over the franchise. Since Bungie left, they've had loss after loss. Halo 4 was, in campaign, people didn't hate the campaign, but people didn't love it either. I really didn't like it, but just felt like a huge downgrade compared to Reach. I don't know. For me, Reach is like the pinnacle of Halo art style wise.
Yeah.
Like
I think Reach. I think
feel like you're
somewhere between Reach and 3. Yeah.
Reach and 3, yeah. Well, I say Reach just because in terms of graphic fidelity, but Halo 3 as well, just because it's more present in the timeline compared to Reach. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like I said, it doesn't make you exactly confident about.
No, and that's a shame too, because it's like
and
again they're bringing back the classic art style. That's a huge win for them. But they're replacing the classic shotgun with this new Bulldog 12-gauge shotgun, which, yeah, I get, most people probably didn't even know that the original Halo 1 through 3 shotgun was, well, actually, the shotgun in every Bungie Halo game, and even Halo 4 and 5, was an 8-gauge shotgun. Probably people didn't know that because that's kind of a lore thing. But it does say 8-gauge, like, in Halo CE, all the ammo crates that aren't just guns on the floor, like the actual magazines and the actual ammo packets that you see on the floor, actually say the cartridge size and chambering and all that on the packet, clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
They were also color coded, so you know which is for what. Like the rocket for this giant orange box. The shotgun was like a green box full of 8-gauge rounds. It said 8-gauge in giant letters on the box. Like the Magnum had a 12.7 by 40 millimeter on a black packet. The assault rifle had the same thing, except it was 7.62 by 51 on a red packet. I think I might be mistaken there, but it's like that's the whole point. Like you had clearly since the beginning you knew. Oh, this is essentially a NATO round assault rifle. This is a 50 cal Magnum. This is a 8-gauge shotgun for a combat shotgun. Etc. etc. And now it's like now we're going down to a 10 millimeter pistol and a shotgun. Now realistically, an 8-gauge shotgun, Marine, like at least talking about Marines and even maybe ODSTs, you can make the argument that their armor compensates, but that would probably dislocate their shoulder.
An 8-gauge shotgun is still not fun.
But for Spartans, that would be like I wouldn't even say that would be even without the armor. They'd probably handle that no problem.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I mean, the armor they're wearing is a 0.5 metric ton.
Yeah, well, think about how. Not even just in the armor. Think about how big a Spartan is, right? Like they're
right. I mean, they literally had to make an upscaled version of all the Magnums just so that they can use it while wearing the armor. Like the going off on a little lore subtopic here. The Halo 2 Magnum is the M6C, which is the Spartan upscaled version from the M6A, which is not used anymore because they're like, it's just why have two versions when Marines can still use the Spartan sized one? It's just giant. And the M6 D, I think they just started making upscaled versions that's just still called the M6D, which is the Halo CE Magnum. Yeah. But it's like it's pretty much all the Magnums that are used by Spartans in their armor, in their Mjolnir armor, are 117% larger than the original versions. But yeah, it's just like they're big. You need to have big weapons. Like that's why the assault rifle is huge in a Marine's arms. That is why, the Spartan laser is called the Spartan laser. Like, yeah, an ODST and Marine can use it, but a Spartan can one-arm it.
Yeah, he can use it. They can attempt to use it.
That thing has so many logistical problems, though. Like, even in the lore, it's like a logistic nightmare, the Spartan laser.
I couldn't imagine.
They always get shipped out to battle without their recharge batteries. It's like, who's doing the logistics in the UNSC, and why are they fucking up on their job?
I want a written up thing by the community manager.
Yeah, so I think this is the last, probably the last chance for the Halo franchise, because I think obviously they'll still release Halos and people will still buy it. But like, I mean, they'll still release Halo and people will still buy it, but it'll be the last chance for the Halo franchise to be redeemed.
Right, like for example, like the casual fan or just regular gamer that picks up the game because they enjoy Halo's gameplay. It's like this is probably their last chance, like to win that crowd. You know, otherwise you're stuck with the hardcore community. And hell, I might even pass it up at like the next game if this game isn't good.
If this game isn't good, I don't know.
Halo Infinite is following the live service model. It's the Halo game for the next 10 years and all that.
Which is just crazy to say. Bungie tried that with Destiny, and look how well that goes.
Right. Well, Destiny 2 is kind of pulling it off, but I mean, I don't think in the last 10 years.
So from what I've heard, the newest DLC isn't that good too either.
Was it 18 or 17?
It might have been 17. Yeah, I think it was 17 because it was right at the end of the year. Yeah, 17.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so 2017 to 2020. So it's been 3 years. I don't know how big the player base is for Destiny right now. Yeah. So it could be still sizable, but it's, again, like a game for 10 years. I know I'm saying that like it's a weird thing, but I'm still playing Halo CE like it came out yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say that, that's just because it's a good game.
It's a good game, and it's not like I'm not playing multiplayer. I'm playing the campaign over and over, trying out different mods. I did the SPV3 mod, I did the Halo mod, which was a nightmare, and I was playing on normal difficulty just so that I wouldn't die as often from my own stupidity.
Yeah, I think when they say, though, that they want a game that's released for 10 years, they want a game that they can continue the dev cycle for 10 years, so they don't have to
and look, I honestly can see a Halo game that can work in a Halo game. I think that, and this could just be me being optimistic, or more hopeful than optimistic, because I'm really skeptical about Halo Infinite. But if it's campaign add-ons and stuff, like you have more story-driven missions and DLC and all that, I think it can work.
I think so, yeah.
But then again, that would mean I can't see that happening at the cost of the just at launch campaign being open-ended, which would be detrimental to the game for me, because it essentially implies, okay, now I have to wait for these DLCs in order to finish the campaign. I don't get a full story. It's like I get the Halo 2 cliffhanger, except instead of, having to wait a few years and then getting a complete story that finishes it, because Halo 2 and Halo 3 just feel like they're just two games split. Well, they kind of were two games split into one game split into two, because Halo 2 was made in like 10 months or something. But that's because Microsoft was like, if you don't make it by the deadline, it doesn't come out. So they had they cut off a bunch of levels, like Forerunner Tank, and where it's like the grave mine's gonna have tentacles coming. To quote one of the devs, coming at you like freight trains. It's just, man, if any of you have not watched that developer's commentary of Halo 2, watch it. It is hilarious.
Good, yeah.
I put it in the video channel of the Discord. You should check it out. It's really funny. But yeah, this is just 10 years. Like we have yet to see a live service thing work out. Destiny is the best case example, and it's only been 3 years.
Well, okay. Wow, but that's specifically because they release expansion pack. I don't think Halo's gonna have the same success.
Yeah, and also it helps that when they broke away from Activision, they made the base game free, and everything else is an add-on.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like that's a unique situation already.
Extremely unique, yeah.
Just 10 years alone have been a unique thing. Like every other game that's attempted live service failed within months of launching.
Yeah. Well, and 10 years is a lot, not only just for to keep up, but just for the game market in general, how much that'll change over the next 10 years.
You don't have consoles last
kind
like
of
7 years.
to say.
This game isn't going to be relevant in 10 years anymore.
Exactly.
It won't be relevant in 7 years. I mean, look, people, myself included, still play Halo 3. That came out in 360 over 10 years ago. Except since not 2012, sorry. Since 2014, we've had the Xbox One, which is yes, Xbox One had a lot of problems at launch, still has a lot of problems. I even mentioned them already in the beginning of this stream. But it still has better graphics and can run games better and everything like that. Halo 3 looks a lot better than on the Xbox One than it did originally. And it plays at 60 frames per second, and with you can even run it at like higher not frame rates, but resolutions and all that, depending on your TV and etc. But the point is that look, we got 2 Halo games in the Xbox 360 generation, and then obviously ODST and Reach. But I'm talking about number.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess Halo 4 was. Yeah, I guess it was 360. Yeah,
it was 360. 2012. I got it on release and was disappointed. I mean, it was fun. It was fun.
I wasn't. I spent a lot of time. Too disappointed.
I spent a lot of time in that game in custom games, so that was fine. That was actually fun. But like Halo 5 on Xbox One, that was a huge disappointment. Play because after Forge came out, some really kick-ass fun game modes, like Death Race, like pretty much Gmod level stuff.
Okay.
Like there's literally a prop. It's called.
Yeah, prop hunt.
So like you have Gmod level game modes in Halo 5's Forge and multiplayer. But that's all people play, really. Like, the campaign was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I didn't even play the campaign.
Like, avoid the campaign in Halo 5 story at all costs, for the love of God.
Yeah, like I said, after Halo 4 came out, and then I had to make the choice, upgrade to the Xbox One and get Halo 5.
Or the PS4, I only made the Xbox One choice because I was a Halo fan, and I wanted to play Halo 5.
Yeah,
I regretted that the second I got Halo 5.
I was kind of, as much as I hate to say it, I still have hope for like I said, I think this is the last hope, at least, for the Halo franchise. But at that time, I was just going Halo 5. I didn't think it was going to be
Halo
good,
5 to be dead honest. Had loot boxes in it too, which was pretty much the only way you can get everything.
Yeah.
Aside from base colors, everything. I'm talking armor. They had this game called Warzone where you got to unlock weapons and stuff that you can essentially use as it was like Call of Duty level of kill streaks.
Oh, okay.
Except you'd get you'd spawn with you call in when you die you'll get the option to okay, I'm gonna spawn with X vehicle because I have 20 of them, or X weapon or whatever, and it was pretty cool. In some cases, I liked the idea of okay, there was the MA5D assault rifle, which they had in Halo 5, had a section of it that came off the silver part with the ammo counter, so that you can have scopes and sights and other attachments.
Okay.
And then there's silencers or compressors, or you can have a bayonet on your gun, stuff like that. And that was cool. But the problem is you had to unlock everything through the rec pack, the loot boxes, and it's so essentially if I wanted, say, the ODST helmet, which looked awful in that game, but they also had the Spartan ODST helmet that Buck wore in the campaign that you can unlock. If you wanted, say, that helmet, you had to pretty much hope for the best and spin that wheel, right? Crank that lever.
Yep.
As it were.
Why are you doing
Use
this?
that dopamine in your brain.
Explain it. Discuss with the community. If you're taking away our identity, I want a damn good reason why.
So I'm just going to skip to the next video here, which is actually a lot shorter.
Is the threat real?
And,
Yes, sir, we believe it
I
is.
guess YouTube did a thing where I need a new ad blocker. So this is videos by Installation00, who's honestly, aside from this one video about the whole armor coating thing, he does great lore videos. So if you're interested in Halo lore, I highly recommend you check him out.
Alright.
He's also the one that kind of inspired me to do
Hey everyone,
Halo
welcome back
3
to
style
Installation
HUD
00.
for the thumbnail.
And today I just wanted to do a quick
videos.
video addressing the recent reveal of coatings for armor in Halo Infinite. For anyone who may not be familiar with the armor coatings, here's a really quick rundown of exactly what the update entailed. And for those who already know this information and just want to skip to my personal opinions on it, then use the chapters in the time bar below and navigate to the next chapter. But for those of you who are unfamiliar, we received an update from 343 about the Halo Infinite armor colours on the 22nd of October, about 4 days ago. And in it, it was detailed that these new armor colours are no longer the normal primary and secondary colours that we've all grown accustomed to using in all previous Halo games. Instead, they're now part of a 7-layer armor coating system. You're seeing the newly debuted Redshift on screen at the moment. Personally, I quite like the Redshift. It's not the colours I would normally pick when I go into any Halo game, but I like the fact that there's a little bit of wear, there's some scratching to the armour of the legs, and I like the fact that there's more modularity to colouring certain plates on the armour different colours. And it's quite obvious when you get really in close that there are actually different textures available. So this is somewhat in line with more recent trends in coloration for player models that we've seen in games like Destiny, Anthem, and even Doom to a lesser extent. So to quote the update, coloration along with materials and patterns will now be baked into the coating, taking the place of the primary secondary armor color options found in prior games, while we understanding system. To reach and further by all appearances is a good thing. That's a heavy advancement in the right direction. But you can't blame people for seeing the Monarch arms and textures. It's important to the team that players are given even more opportunities to express themselves within the game itself. On the face of it, that's extremely promising stuff. The idea of being able to customize different plates in coloration, texture, finish, and even just the basic geometry and have higher customization options more akin to reach and further by all appearances is a good thing. That's a heavy advancement in the right direction. But you can't blame people for seeing the Monarch armor, which is currently on screen, that they debuted a while ago, and had the arguments that it looked too plasticky, too clean, and didn't fall in line with the grittiness that we've come to expect from Halo. Well, as luck would have it, 343 had a counter for that as well. They said, when we shared the Monarch armor render in our last update, we also saw some feedback around it looking like plastic or being too clean. While we are very excited about the return to a more classic Halo art style, we do want to acknowledge that the nature of these work-in-progress renders is such that they aren't completely representing the base material as shown in-game with real lighting. Additionally, as you can see with Redshift above, the overall look will also depend on the design style of each specific armor coating.
Not on the stream, no.
Again, this seems relatively promising.
Right.
Your Discord, yeah.
The issue, however, is that just earlier on in that very same update, this sentence took place. Fans around the world will have opportunities to score 2 XP boosts, emblems, and armor coatings. On top of this, when they debuted the Redshift armor coating, they said it can be secured by purchasing any Halo or Xbox merchandise at GameStop from November 9th to December 13th. Similar to most of our other promotions, you'll want to save your receipts and redeem the code at halowaypoint.com/redeem. This rightly put people on edge. This sentence suggests that armor coatings are now something that have to be either won or bought. To counter some of these concerns, John Junisek, the 343 community manager, pretty sure I just butchered his name, but that's by the by, took to Twitter to answer some of these concerns. He started by clarifying about the concern that armor coatings can only be purchased. and said that it isn't the case and that there'll be all kinds of customization items, including coatings that can be earned in-game and earned as special rewards. He did go on to say there will be purchases for armor coatings for those who want to spend the additional money in microtransactions, but it's not the only way to get armor coatings. He said there'll be a good variety of coatings in a following tweet, as well as another tweet completely separately to that saying that uniqueness will not be a problem in Halo Infinite, and also answered why there couldn't be a hybrid system where you can change colours and the rest of the coating remains the same, and just said that while he loves the idea, the colours and materials are designed and built into each specific coating, basically meaning that once the coating ships with the game, there isn't the ability to change it once it's been released. This harkens back to another concern that effectively, although it's a 7-layer system now, and that does suggest that there's a higher level of customization and more parts of the armor can be customized, the only people that actually can customize the colors and textures of a given coating are the development team, which means that once the coatings are in the game, we have no ability as players to change the colors or textures. We simply apply the coating as a single package.
Oh boy.
This is Frank.
Well, at least they give you a warning.
Frank has just won this battle because Frank.
Yeah. I didn't even
But
realize
why
that.
my ad blocker isn't working is a bigger
So
problem.
where does that leave us?
That
Well,
would be an
I for one,
annoyance.
I'm loving the redshift coloration. The Monarch, I can agree, looks a little plasticky, but again, maybe that one's designed to have kind of more of a clean, untarnished kind of look. Maybe it's literally supposed to be an armor that's fresh off the line. I'm quite interested in the possibility of this perhaps suggesting that there's now in-game damage, so that your armor will actually physically take damage while you're playing, and that will show on your armor skin, hence the 7 layers. You know, they can effectively use those 7 layers of customization to show levels of damage. That also ties in with something that happens within the new book, where there's actually a Mjolnir repair station. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to spoil any more details for anybody. That being said, now again, you can completely understand why people are concerned by this. This suggests that effectively we have no control over customization anymore. We just have control about which coating we like the best. Not per se what materials we want, not per se what textures we want, what level of wear, what level of damage, particular colour combinations or patterns or groupings. All we get to pick is which coating we like the best. And that may even imply that there might not be a coating that you actually completely and utterly love, which means you just have to settle for second best. You can understand why people are interpreting this and becoming quite upset as a consequence. And by quite upset, I mean most people are just kind of taking the punches as they come. Some people are getting extraordinarily up in arms about this. We haven't actually even seen the multiplayer yet. We've seen campaign, sort of working model of the campaign gameplay. We haven't even seen multiplayer yet, and people are losing their minds over the possibility that they might not be able to choose the exact colorations that they want anymore. Okay, you're literally basing your argument off of text that you've read from the update and from the tweets that John has posted to try to kind of counter some of the concerns. At this stage, we're literally just going off of a couple of images and some text. To base an entire concerned argument on that is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. We haven't seen the multiplayer.
So
we haven't seen.
I will say with that though, if the only thing you're worried about in saying, "Oh, I'm not going to buy the game specifically because of the colors," then I think that's a little extreme. But I think a part of the reason that people might be so outraged is because of the microtransactions.
Yeah, I'm more
I think
concerned
that's a
about the
bit of a bigger.
monetization because
That's what
we
I'm
know
more so worried about. Yeah.
it's not going to be friendly. It's going to be
No.
egregious. It's going to be grievous. It's going to be evil.
Yeah. It's
Because,
going to be.
yeah,
greedy.
you can make, again, free to play. When you have monetization that ties into how you play the game, it ain't free to play, buddy. It's fee to play.
But yeah, so I would say understand that, yeah, if you're just basing it off the colors, that's a little bit. But my biggest concern is, like I said, the fact that the microtransactions are.
Yeah,
If there were armor coatings if all the armor coatings are free or unlockable in game, you know what? Even then, it's good because you have that customization. If they're getting rid of something, then at least you have that. But the problem is they're getting rid of something and adding a price tag.
Right. At least if it's okay, you got rid of primary and secondary colors, but at least all the armor coatings are free. Fine. It'd be like a Halo 4. They got rid of Spartan Ops. They got rid of Firefight, but we have Spartan Ops now. You know, it's like
Exactly.
It sucks, but it could be worse. Here, we're getting that worse.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting the worst case scenario. You're paying for it.
And, you know, are we exaggerating? No, because we've seen it happen with dozens and dozens of other games. We've literally have been pointing each one out over the course of the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
You
Anyways, yeah, that was my only...
EA's Battlefront, Battlefield 5, Fallout 76, Anthem, Avengers...
Just so many games.
Those are just the big named ones.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how all of them failed, except for Battlefront 2 somehow managed to survive. The only reason that survived is because Star Wars.
They
was
saved
title.
it. Well, they saved it
any other
too.
game, they would have developed. They wouldn't have even. Well, they wouldn't have actually cared to develop it further and add in game modes and all that. But
yeah,
even if they did, no one would care.
If it didn't have the Star Wars name backing it, it would have been the grossest failure.
It's still a failure compared to the original Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the new game modes and stuff. But yeah, let's continue to hear what he has to say.
How much customization option there really is. We haven't seen how this 7-layer coating system is implemented. We haven't seen anything about the multiplayer and how this is actually going to translate to the player experience. So getting up in arms and upset about this process is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Hold your breath. Wait until we actually have some information of substance. We actually have some
That's one of the problems right there. We don't have the information. We're asking them, and they're not answering.
They're not giving it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're refusing to.
As my grandmother would say, sometimes, no answer is an answer.
Yeah, is an answer in itself, right? Exactly.
Player
it's
footage,
not
some gameplay. Then
Yeah.
make some more informed arguments, some more informed decisions based on what you see.
Look how big it is. I'll never stop making fun of it. Like, it's bad enough that it looks like a modern, like, it looks like a 5.7 in the real world. Like, seriously, it looks like a 5.7, but, like, it's an oversized 5.7.
It's massive.
So getting upset, getting really antsy on social media, on different forums, and on Reddit, and on different Discords, and in comment sections of mine and fellow Halo YouTubers' videos.
The Commando,
Save your breath and wait until we have more information. The reality is that 343 are trying to make this franchise grow and develop over time, while there's a large portion of people in...
I want to see if I can pause it in that moment that everyone else seems to pause it to get the Craig thing.
Ooh,
grow and develop over time, while there's a...
What was that?
Yeah, to the right on the ground. I didn't even see that when I watched this originally.
Large portion of people...
It looks like you can pick them up.
in
here.
The Halo fan base that want it to remain stagnant. That isn't the way to develop a successful franchise. We have to move with the times. If this new armor coating system...
Now, when he says move with the times, I've talked about this in, like, when I was just playing once, and I don't think I ever actually brought it up with you, but I actually came up with a good idea of how to make sprint work in a Halo game. Because, look, as much as I love the idea of just, like, you know, having Halo stay as it was since Halo 3 and all that,
yeah,
you can have sprint work and not affect the gameplay. And what I mean is, take Halo Infinite, an open, semi-open, whatever hub world or open world, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Call it. You probably won't have access to a vehicle 24/7. You're gonna need to walk on foot. What if you had sprint that say it lasts for only 30 seconds, but you can, or 30 seconds is actually a little long. Say it lasts only for 10, 15 seconds, but you can run really damn fast and get real distance out of it. But it lasts real short. It's like a really short sprint. Like a full-on Spartan sprint. A Spartan
and
sprint.
Reach did like a decent sprint.
Right, like that, except you run really fast. I'm talking like in the book, in Shadows of Reach, they have Chief and Kelly go... they have to run 2 kilometers, then dig a trench in the glass of what is now the surface of Reach, all in 90 seconds.
Yeah, so
like
extreme.
You can have like, and obviously for gameplay, unlike Star Citizen, Halo gameplay doesn't always fully translate into the lore, but you can have it be like, okay, for gameplay's sake, you can only run this fast for 10 seconds, right?
Yeah,
but you're running really fast, able to cover some distance because it's an open world and there isn't a warthog or a mongoose for like, a kilometer or 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like so you need to reach somewhere, but you don't want to.
This way you have sprint, and it can also be used like in a similar fashion that Halo Reach's sprint was used. Like you can use it either you're gonna be defenseless and someone can get you in the back, right? So your shields are down, whatever. But you can also have that hope that maybe you'll find cover and run out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
So it's that there's that balance there. But anyway, like that's just a way for Halo to move with the modern times, as you would.
System is a way to move with the times, the way to increase graphical fidelity and player experience over time. Great, I'm open to it. No problems whatsoever. Okay, some of them are going to be locked behind some degree of microtransactions. Fine, that's just a reality of most games nowadays. But if you can still unlock different armor...
And that's a problem. Microtransactions should not be in gaming.
No.
And before anyone gets like, oh, it's free to play, the whole problem that this started was it became popular in China, and like most things, they figured let's try it here in the States. It started with mobile, got popular there, and then they started adding it into the games that you're actually paying for. And now they're designing games around it, most of them being free to play. Like I know you brought up Fortnite before, but Fortnite was designed with that monetization in mind. And because it's free to play, they feel like they can monetize it any which way they want.
Well, yeah, because it's so much. I feel like it's so much not easier. I guess it's more. You put more faith in. Oh, I'm gonna buy a $15 or spend $15 on a game I play. People are more likely to do that than say I'm gonna spend $60 and possibly get this game that I might like. For new franchises, at least like Fortnite. So it makes sense business wise, but it shouldn't be a thing. And I mean, I guess I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's a horrible thing if free to play games are in a sense monetizing certain things, right? But I think it's a little much when you're purposefully making your game free to play, Halo, with the sole intention of monetizing it like that. Right. We all know that they could have included the infinite multiplayer in the game. They could have sold it $10 on the side. They could have done multiple things. Yeah, they could have sold it for $10 if you want just the multiplayer, but they're taking this really shady and bad for gaming overall way of monetizing it.
Coatings through doing in-game.
Again, it's that you're by saying it's okay or whatever. That's enabling it because again, the only way to actually make a change is voting with your wallet and speaking your mind. If I I think I might have a little extreme, tough. I mean, look, I'm saying it as it is. Like, look, the only thing they care about is making money. At the end of the day, if they realize, hey, we're not making any money by doing this, and a lot of people are voicing their concern and unhappy about what we're doing. Maybe we should change it. You know, like that's the kind of change that we're trying to get here.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can't necessarily demonize also spending, because, for example, if there's a smaller dev team that put out a free-to-play game and you want to support that dev team, then for sure buy a microtransaction. But the problem is with bigger games like this, it's not
Warframe's a good
going to
example of
devs.
that.
Yeah, so Among Us. There's some
Among Us
skins in
is-
there. They didn't have to add the skins in, but they put it in there because we're selling a $5 game. If you want to, you know, they added a bunch of skins otherwise, so you can customize your character, right? But we're adding a few things in. So if you want to support us, then you can support us and you get something out of it, right? You don't have to. I think buying certain things isn't necessarily bad, but when it's a big company who doesn't need to and is only
they
doing
don't
it
need
because
that
it's
little nickel and dime money that they're trying to get out of you. This is this is Microsoft. We're talking about the guys, like one of the largest software and hardware guys in the existence of of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the OS guys at the moment. Like you need an operating
Have been
software for your machine.
20 years.
Yeah, they've been making. Yeah, this isn't like a indie developer that's, you know, this is their first game.
And like I said, if it would be one thing if it was going to the devs and going to them, like, you know, adding content, but it's not. It's going right
I think
to,
one of the this isn't visible on the stream right now, but
right to Microsoft.
like on the channel here, like I think one of the featured videos I have is a video I did about Starward Studios, Starward Industries. It's CD Projekt Red and I'm blanking on the other. Techland. I don't remember what game they made, but CD Projekt Red Techland devs made this new studio called Starward Industries, and they're making a game based around a book called The Invincible, and it's a really cool sounding premise. The story sounds interesting, and like say that game was like, you know, it sounds like it's gonna be an RPG, but like say it's I mean, the point I put the video as like the first thing you see on the channel is because I barely heard about this thing. I'm not seeing anyone else talk about it. They deserve to get more. You know, they deserve the attention. You know, this is just this might be like the next Witcher type game in terms of popularity and quality.
Well, exactly.
I mean, it's made by the same guys.
Yeah. Heads up after this video.
And it's just a dev team. It's like a dev team of like 8 people, and it's just them. There's no one backing them.
Yeah,
there's no corporation. It's just them. It's self-publishing a game.
I'll have to check that out.
And achievements and daily challenges just keeps players coming back to the game, doesn't it? It keeps us coming back, playing and trying to get those particular sets that we're really, really up for. And that's not to say that the game won't launch with a huge...
Yeah, but are those like achievements and stuff going to be like tedious grind walls, or what was it, like roadblocks? Or
I'm not sure.
So in Anthem, and I think in Anthem they had roadblocks for stuff. You had to essentially get X amount of whatever's or something, like, and so it was unnecessary. Essentially, it feels like a grind, like the Darth Vader thing. Like you can get Darth Vader if you pay X amount of money, or you can grind it out for 40 hours and hope to get it in a loot box. You know, it's like, or in this case, it'd be like pay for it or grind it out for 40 hours or whatever.
Yeah, they always make it easier for you to pay for it.
After you're like tired, like you don't want to play the game for like another week or two after, like once you've done, you know?
Yeah.
Huge plethora of coatings already built into the game. I mean, again, we're talking, this is the next generation of console gaming. If you consider the level of customization that other games have had, and even Halo has had in the previous generation and the previous generation to that, having the next generation console and the next generation game, the level of customization, the amount of computing power that the new console has, and the amount that the development team have to work with, the resolution and the amount of resources that they have at their disposal, the customization options and the user experience could be absolutely off the charts, because we're basing our assumptions now on what we've already experienced, and that's the wrong thing to do.
Well, it's a logical thing. Well, first of all, we don't know anything because they're not telling us. They're not answering questions. They clearly can. The guy in the video pointed it out. Like, this guy tweeted answering a specific person's question. So they can ease things if they wanted to, but I don't think they can because I don't think they have anything to say. And
yeah, well, they just don't want to say anything.
Said this is replacing the primary secondary color, meaning that we're gonna have these preset. I don't think a lot of people understand what artist authored preset shaders are. It's pretty much like what is in Destiny. It's like a pre-made thing. You have no choice or control over what it is.
Yeah. Well, and also, like you said, realistically, it's only logical to base so you're going to set an expectation no matter what. Records. Well, yeah, you're going to set an expectation no matter what. It's way better to set that expectation based on what has previously happened than just to assume for the best and then be blindsided by what has repeatedly happened in the past. Yeah.
Or in this case, because right now, I'm going to hope for the best and hope that things work out. And at the same time, things aren't looking great, and based on your track record, you have a tendency of removing things in order to add new things, which don't really match up to the old thing. And it's like that track record. It speaks volumes. Actions speak louder than words. You can say all you want, but your past says otherwise.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you say it. It's changed. If you haven't changed in the past, what makes you think they're going to in the future?
And as much as I get he's defending 343 because they returned to classic art style, they're doing good so far, and all that up until now with the armor thing and multiplayer. But in terms of what Halo Infinite, I mean, but it's like look. I'm just gonna say this: if Cyberpunk 2077 is crap, it's a horrible game or whatever, just because it's CD Projekt Red, it doesn't mean I'm gonna pull my punches.
No, well, exactly.
Like, I'm not like, as much as I love CD Projekt Red for what they do. If Cyberpunk's a bad game for XYZ reason, like say it freezes, it stutters, or crashes, or whatever the problem is, I'm going to point it out, and I'm not pulling my punches.
Well, right, and if anything, you should be harsher with criticism to these bigger game companies because they're the ones that should be. They should be trying to achieve perfection, right? They have enough money, time, and manpower.
They're supposed to be the gold standard, yet they're literally the bottom of the barrel when indie is taking. It's like, and this isn't exclusive with gaming right now. Take the comic book industry. Indie comics right now are, first of all, they're crazy amazing. Like, if any of you have not read Neon Future by Impact Theory, check it out. It's awesome. But also, like, EVS, Ethan Van Sciver's got his Cyberfrog. People have been making comics and getting them funded on Indiegogo, and they're doing wildly successfully and great. And then the mainstream comic books like Marvel and DC just suck because they're doing all this identity politics, politically correct bullshit.
Yeah, they're no longer the gold standard.
They're no longer the gold standard, yet they're the AAA thing. It's like, and movies are the same thing. Like, well, not yet, but eventually I think the same thing will happen in movies. We're going to get a lot more fan-made stuff, more just like content made by guys like us, like you, McMee, and Julio. Not us specifically, but that we know of yet. But I mean, like people like us are going to be like making new types of movies and whatever, and those are going to be the things that do great and do successful, while Hollywood is kind of dying because they keep making the same bullcrap year after year. Like, Yeah, and then
Well, and it doesn't help that at least it used to be expensive to make this bullcrap. Now people are actually getting these
we
programs
can
and they're
make a
being
good
able to
movie
do
with
this
like a
stuff for
freaking
so cheap.
and just some post editing and like Adobe Premiere or After Effects or
Right.
whatever.
At least before movies or game companies, they could release something and say, well, it might have been garbage, but you gotta do it because whatever, nobody else is gonna go out and buy this $10,000 camera, right?
Right,
Now it's
and
more so, can you do it? Yeah, well, of course. I've got like a phone, I've got a computer, or I've got a decent camera with the way cameras
that's
are
another thing too is
advancing.
honestly a cheap made like if you don't have a lot, the problem is lacking creativity. Like that's the reason why
Exactly.
comics are failing. That's like the mainstream comic stuff versus indie. That's the reason why I feel that Hollywood will lose to the indie movie making thing whenever that starts happening. Like it's kind of started, but I mean like really starts like what comics are right now. Like indie comics have blown up over the last 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Like really blown up. Like I lost track count of how many I'm already following. And then same with video games too. Like there's a bajillion different indie games that are more successful than any AAA game right now, and it's all because of creativity. And
Yeah,
I think
and
a lot of
it's-
that
and it's-
creativity also stems from when you don't have a lot of money. It forces you to be creative of how you go about it.
Well, and yeah, I was gonna say it's more so the drive to create, like with these indie developers, and obviously with anything that gets big enough where there's multiple people work on it, it's gonna happen, right? But with these indie developers, there was more of a drive to create something very specific in art, design, and all this than there is in a massive team, right? Like they have more of a drive to create that vision than it is just to make a game that sells, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like it's that drive, that's something to create. Whereas, in order to be creative, you need to be able to take risks, and that's something that corporations just
Largely
since
failed
the
to do.
beginning of time are pretty much against doing.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Johnny Cash was a risk when he came back, when he came back with the whole drug thing and everything.
Yeah.
Like they saw him as a risk. They wanted him to do like the same old stuff, and he's like,
No.
and he's like, no. Or was it the opposite? They wanted him to do the more modern stuff, and he's like, no, I want to do the same old stuff that I was doing, but I want to do new stuff and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And they saw that as a risk because that style was out at that point. But obviously, as history would, as we know from history,
Yeah.
that wasn't the case. It was a risk, but it was a well-taken risk for them because he made great music again afterwards. And it's always the same story, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd learn.
And I'm
343
sort of unavoidable
have
when you
made-
get 100 people working on the same project. Obviously, divisions aren't going to be all cohesive, I guess. But doesn't excuse the fact that these games are being produced more, I guess. Yeah, like you said, creatively. Like they have more behind them than just a game.
made mistakes in the past, but have you noticed they've never made the same mistake twice?
Bullshit. We literally spent like an hour talking about all the mistakes they made twice. Each game, they make the same mistake twice. We just talked about the weapons alone. Like, oh, they removed the classic rocket launcher, the Spanker, and everyone hated it. And then they brought it back later, like a few, I forget if it was like a year or a few months later. But for Warzone and multiplayer only, because obviously that was the case. Oops.
Yeah.
And then, they do the same thing with the shotgun and the Magnum. They're doing the same exact thing. And Halo 4, they did it with the plasma rifle for the storm rifle. It's like, they're doing the same mistakes for each game. So that's Like, dude, I respect you and love your content, and you do good stuff, but you're wrong there.
History does tend to repeat itself. Surprising.
They have repeated themselves. They've done the same mistakes twice, and in terms of not just weapons alone. You know, they got rid of Firefight and replaced it with Spartan Ops. Then they got rid of Spartan Ops, didn't bring back Firefight, but they replaced that with Warzone. You know, they keep getting rid of old game modes and replacing them with new ones that are inferior, in my opinion.
They
at least actually
see when he says they haven't made the same mistake twice. That is such a lie, because I won't even say specific mistakes, but the biggest mistake they keep making over and over again is not adding, replacing. There you go. That's all you have to say. Repeated mistake. Repeated. Not adding, replacing. Yeah.
Mistakes in the past, but have you noticed they've never made the same mistake twice? That is the sign of a good development team.
I mean, yeah.
And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Halo YouTuber and I'm passionate about Halo and I'm some sort of 343 fanboy.
I can't even say that about the CIG, honestly. They've repeated some mistakes.
Oh, yeah, like any company has probably repeated a mistake.
And that's
twice.
another thing. As much as I love CIG, you know, I'll if they do something wrong, I'll point it out. Because I want Star Citizen to be good, and I'm tester. I'm pretty much helping. Like, we're both helping shape the future of this game by testing it and giving them feedback.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna say what's wrong and be harshest about Star Citizen, it's people who own it.
I love what 343 have done, I love what Bungie have done. I'm saying this as a fan of Halo and as a person of reasonable mind to give them a chance to prove themselves.
I really hope there's a field of view slider in Halo Infinite. I don't know, doesn't it feel like his hands are like right in his face?
Yeah, like 2 feet away.
Just a little bit. I'm looking down at my arm right now, and I see the rest of my forearm too. You know?
Yeah, not just your wrist and your hand up to your
like,
face.
Say, like you can even make there like you're looking straight up, and you bring your arm up to you, so you're not looking down at your chest and shoulder or anything. You're still seeing your forearm in there, so whatever. Yeah. I'm just nitpicking on that. Sorry.
Nitpicking now. Yeah. No
I just like having enough
they've
field
done
of
things
view.
wrong in the past, but they've never done it twice. And things that they have delivered have been absolutely sensational.
Really? Because I remember everyone complaining about pretty much Halo 4 and Halo 5. No, look, like, again, I liked Spartan Ops. I thought it was a good thing. Could it have been better? Yes. Should they have added it in Halo 5? Definitely. But,
and see, I don't think anybody... And see, like, honestly, one thing I will say that's good about Halo 4, it still felt like a Halo game, like the way it plays.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they still feel like they're Halo games. So I will say that they have that down.
Halo 5 didn't, but Halo 4 did, because it's pretty much Halo Reach, except Sprint was,
Yeah, I didn't play 5, like I said.
Well, here's another thing about Sprint is, I forgot to mention this earlier in my, like, how do you have Sprint in Halo? You also need to have a stamina bar or whatever, like Halo Reach did. Like, where you have the armor ability sphere deplete when you ran out of stamina, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's that gameplay thing. You need that bar to see how much you have, so that if you don't finish it, you still have a little bit before it recharges that you can use up, you know? So you can use it strategically and tactically. But anyway, yeah, back to the commentary.
So, let's relax a little bit about the armor coatings. Let's wait until we've got some multiplayer footage, and then we'll make some informed decisions on exactly where we stand. Thanks for watching.
I don't know about, so that's just outro.
Well, and yeah, like you said, obviously it still hasn't released. We don't know exactly what it is, but I think we can fairly accurately guess.
We do have. I'm not making any
exactly.
assumptions. I'm just going on what the information that we have. The solid information they have given us.
Yeah, the fact that they remove primary, secondary, first off.
And
the fact that it is going to be microtransactions.
Yeah, and like we know, okay, it's going to be monetized. And like the second I saw this, it was like because I figured that they were testing the. Oh no! Sorry, I forgot I wasn't talking on the stream. So I figured when I saw the Battle Pass thing in the Master Chief Collection for the first time, I'm like, okay, this is probably like a test bed for Infinite for something, but I didn't know what exactly. Now I know, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going through the comments here because it's like they all disagree with it. Like I love this one. I'm sorry, I will never not be up in arms about microtransactions. They are cancer in the industry. They are! I know that might sound really extreme, but they are a cancer in the industry. How many stories do we have to read? I literally remember that, like, what was it, episode 7 or 6? That we had, like, devoted entirely to microtransactions? And we were, like, reading one BBC, one article after the next, all within a 3-year span of like how this guy was addicted, he knew he was addicted, but he kept doing it because he needed the buzz, or the kid didn't know and spent like $16,000 on on FIFA trying to get Lionel Messi. It's like how many of these stories do we have to hear for this to sink in?
And it's not even like the industry needs to change. Well, the industry does need to change, but there needs to be legislation in place that stops them.
And this guy's pointing out the same thing I did here. They never make the same mistake twice. We're just going to forget how they removed the spanker in Halo 5 and then remove the shotgun in Magnum and Infinite.
Yeah, not making the same mistake twice. How about the M41 rocket launcher in Halo 5 and now the MK50 and Bulldog replacing the M6 Magnum and M45, M90 shotgun.
Yeah, that was there. And then obviously you got, you guys are making baseless assumptions without seeing the game, only with what they have said. Proceeds to make baseless assumption that it will have great customization because of the power of consoles. Again, I don't mean to be making fun of him. I love his content. Yeah. He made a good Flood video I just watched in honor of Halloween. It's like good stuff. It's just
sometimes you just disagree
one bad thing. I'm not like, some of these comments are just genuinely funny.
Yeah, well, it's saying sorry you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's literally like, it's either saying sorry, not
like
sorry,
sorry, not sorry.
Sorry you feel that way. Sorry that you feel that way, but it's the way it is. Anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to hop off. But...
Yeah, and I think it's good. I mean, I kind of wanted to cover this one too. This.
Okay. We could do it one of those days.
Because and then we can just go into the whole EA thing. Oh boy, no, it's actually good news though. It's good news. EA's being sued by multiple countries for loot boxes. It's a win.
That is a net positive. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
It was nice talking to you and everything.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you in a while, actually.
I think YouTube may have ghosted our stream.
Uh-oh.
Apparently it happens. Like, they won't give out the notification to everyone. Like, some people get it, some people won't.
Well, here, let me check on my phone whether or not I even got it.
I know M. Dastardly got it. He's a repeat viewer. He's a good guy. He's actually in the Community Hub Discord server.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I haven't been that active, so I haven't really been on any of the streams since really, since
Yeah,
we
that
switched
one where
over.
you're asking about the Vandal mask.
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, like when I saw you, I'm like, dude, why aren't you up here? I had to check if I actually have that mask. Because
Oh yeah, I didn't
should
end up
have it by
getting
now.
it either.
I mean, I got the kills. I should have it. But
Oh yeah, I didn't end up finishing it because every time that it was on, there was not enough people in the Discord, and
yeah,
it's just like, oh, no.
yeah, that was a
I waited
really
too long. It was
towards
my
the
fault.
end. It was kind of full because we're like, oh, we all got it. It's like not everyone.
Yeah.
Cam gave me a link to another one, so.
Oh okay.
And then, but now it's too late because it's not November 1st anymore.
Yeah. I shouldn't have waited as long.
Don't worry, I literally started it at the last minute possible, so.
Anyways, good night.
Speaking of which, I hope we get more of those type of events because those were fun.
Yeah, that we'll see. There you go. Good way to unlock customizations.
Exactly.
That.
It's like I had to kill 50 unique players. It sounded tough when I first heard that. I'm like, wow, because like in Star Citizen with a ship, like if it was a gun, that wouldn't be as challenging for me. But with a ship, I'm not the best dog fighter. That's gonna be tough. And I'm like, oh wait, we can just line up and kill each other. Cool.
Good luck killing somebody who's running a HOTUS and
right, yeah. And here's the thing, I got to see animations that I never seen before. Like your character, like there are unique animations for when you get gunned down from a ship gun.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. See, like, and that's what I liked about that. Like you got to see unique animations for the first time, got to meet new friends, and it was a fun way to unlock a mask. No, I haven't checked if I actually unlocked it yet, but even if I didn't, it was still fun. I'm not going to regret it.
Well, and then the other good thing was that you got to try the Vandal ships.
Yeah, well, the Vandal Glaive is really, really bugged. I'm talking about, like, you're in your... It's ejected me out of the seat mid-flight on Hurston, and I was, like, 20 km up. So, yeah, I died.
Yeah, not fun.
The ship made it to my landing location, though.
That's when you're sending out a emergency transmission.
Someone blow the shit out of that ship. I don't want to see it ever again.
It abandoned me.
Because the way I say it ejected me is because the way you get in the seat, it's like one of those like Japanese motorcycles.
Yeah, where you're leaning forward.
But the way you get out, it's like it's on an incline when you get up, and it pulls you up and everything. It's whole animation. And the problem is when you're in atmosphere, sometimes you'll stay on the seat, and sometimes gravity will just pull you off. And don't even get me started on how do you fly when that happens when you're just in space flying around. It's impossible. But that's why they gave everyone a Gladius too, because it worked with a Gladius. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I just
alright.
hope kills
I'm
with the
off
pirate
here.
Gladius count, because if they don't, then I'm screwed. But yeah, so this has been I guess what did I title this? Newsflash Live.
Newsflash, yeah.
Newsflash Live. I don't know. I gotta find more. I gotta come up with a more creative name, but for like different segments. I figured Escapism Live was a good way for like if we're just gaming and casual live stream type thing. But for like a news thing, probably should come up with a better name.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it would be.
But I can come up with a better name, change it later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's our thing. We have control over it. And I'm slowly working on actually trademarking Cast the Shadows so that no one else can. So, if someone else goes by name, we can sue that. And hell, I got my sweatshirt and t-shirt and they look awesome.
Oh yeah, you're gonna send a picture of that.
Yeah, I'm totally going to send a picture. I'll put it in the main Discord, in the community hub Discord. because I kind of use that as a like open Star Citizen Discord for like anyone who has the game, plus for like the YouTube channel and everything. So if you want to just talk shit with us on Discord, link is I think in the description. I actually don't know. I might have to put it in the description.
Link is not in the description, no.
Alright, so I can just put it in the chat then. Real quick. Chat link. Give me link.
Alright, while you're doing that, I'm gonna hop off.
Alright, yeah, thanks for joining me this time. Alright, and that is this Saturday night's live stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm gonna put the Discord link in the chat now. So there it is. Join at your own peril. And anyway, this has been Mando, Merc, and Coolios of Cast and Shadows. And if you enjoy this, subscribe. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're free to think whatever you want. I mean, I'm just gonna say what I feel. But yeah, if you like this, want to see more, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button, give the stream a thumbs up, and in the meantime, yeah, that's really about it. I'm just going to put that up and get rid of the main capture window, so this way you just have that up there, because you can get a t-shirt now on our Teespring store, which is in the description because I just checked. So we got eBay store where I sell my posters, and if any of the other Cast of Shadows members make a poster, we'll put it up there too. And we got Teespring store. I can confirm that all the stuff we sell is cool because I got it. They came. I didn't get everything, but I got a t-shirt. Or I got 2 t-shirts, one black, one red. And I got the sweatshirt that I pretty much, I'll be honest, I designed that sweatshirt just for myself and figured to buy so that I can have that sweatshirt. So if that doesn't tell you how much I like it, I don't know what will. But yeah, you can pick it up. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna, as soon as we get to $60 so that I can buy and play Cyberpunk, which we are at. Why isn't it showing? Oh, because I have the thing up here. So as soon as I get to Cyberpunk money, so I can play Cyberpunk, which, there it is, we're at $50.20. I just need $10 more. 10. Once we reach 60, I'm going to lower all the prices on everything in the Teespring store to the bare minimum so that I can still make a profit, but it's not expensive. So you have my word on that. Just, I might need a reminder because I can possibly forget. But yeah, I'm definitely going to lower the prices after Cyberpunk comes out. For certain. If Cyberpunk gets delayed, I'm going to lower the prices anyway because, yeah. So anyway, so thanks everyone so much for watching, whether you're watching live or catching the replay. So I'm going to leave this up. And yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed the ranting for about 3 hours now. And this is, I'm just going to end the stream. Remember, treat others how you want to be treated. Bye.